Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, got to fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with FIFO, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
Morning. We are here. We are back. This is Grapsody. I'm Phil
It is.
Lindsey.
You are.
I'm here with Righteous Reg.
I am.
What's going on with you, brother?
In the building, it's your boy, Media Man, your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster. Feeling good. It's Saturday morning. Basketball is in the All-Star game. I didn't get to catch any of the activities last night, but I'm hoping to catch some last night. It's raining outside. Oakland's getting back into what they call the atmospheric river fake thing they try to do to scare us. So, yeah, feeling pretty good. Happy everybody's here to listen to your boys talk about some wrestling. I watched SmackDown last night, so I'm ready to go. How you feeling, Phil?
I'm good. It's basketball. Like you said, it's the GOAT's birthday. Happy birthday to Michael Jordan.
MJ.
Greatest basketball player of all time. If you don't agree with that, I don't care. Take somewhere else. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't get to watch any of the All-Star game stuff from yesterday, but I don't usually ever watch everything from the All-Star weekend anymore. Like celebrity game and stuff is fun sometimes. I didn't really I seen some stuff from it, but it wasn't anything. I was like, I have to watch this.
Right, yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. Sometimes there's some people that you wanted to see, like Stephen A. Smith was getting it cracking with his pregame videos and all this, but then I also saw him fall. Shouts to Stephen A. Hopefully he's okay. But it's it wasn't enough for me to be like, I have to watch this. But there's some definitely things tonight. The 3-point and dunk contests are staples in our generation's lives. This Saturday used to be yo, life is crazy. I remember watching the Vince Carter one live, and man, I was like, wish I could dunk.
Yeah. Yeah, we got 3-point contest. We got Steph going up against homegirl for WNBA, which
very
sounds
exciting.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a cool concept.
Yeah.
Just shows how far WNBA has come. Shows that Steph is just Steph is that guy that you got to give him his own spot on the All-Star weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of rough going for your team, but
I mean, things could be worse. Draymond is at least providing some great entertainment, some great gifts, some great quotes. So life is dope. Speaking of basketball, did you listen to this Kevin Durant and Stolly record?
I did not.
Kevin Durant is rapping, my guy, and it sounds like he might have got a ghostwritten verse from your homie Jay Electronica.
I did not hear this. Listen, I like Stolly a lot.
Stolly's dope.
But I have not heard this.
You gotta listen to this. I didn't know KD spit, but yes, he's rapping, and he's rapping like Jay Electronica, and I'm like, all right, I'm not mad at it. Could be a lot worse rappers to rap like.
Yeah, I don't know if I need Durant bars in my life. But,
Durant be getting the shit off, man. He might be a really great rapper, honestly, with this Twitter account and his burner accounts.
Yeah, shout out to Stolly. I'm a big fan of Stolly. I've seen him live a few times.
Oh, really?
His first EP. Yeah. I've seen him in Houston for sure.
Shit.
I'm trying to remember where I was in Houston when I saw him.
That sounds hard.
Which it's funny because he he raps kind of like a Houston or Southern rapper, but
exactly.
He's not from Houston. He's from Ohio.
Mm-hmm. I think he is from Ohio, but yeah, that's why I was like, man, it's really dope that you did it in Houston. You watched him in Houston, but I'm like, he's not from Houston though. But something about it being in Houston and it being Stolly really hits.
Yeah, if you hear Swangin', it sounds like a Houston record.
Yeah, so but definitely if y'all haven't heard it, your boy KD is spitting bars. But yeah, that should be pretty exciting tonight. Stephen Curry doing his thing, the dunk contest, the All-Star game coming up tomorrow. It's a really exciting time for the NBA, and I'm glad that they've seemingly got a lock on how wild the All-Star weekend became. Because I remember when they went to Vegas one year and they were like, yo, this was a mistake. Like the players were wilding, like it was going down, like people were dying. They were like, oh no, we can't come to Vegas ever again. Let's go to Indianapolis, Indiana, where things are calm, even though it's not really that calm over there.
Yeah, they're supposed to go to Indianapolis a few years ago, but got canceled because of COVID, and they ended up in Atlanta. And so this is kind of like them going back. 'Cause I don't know if you remember, but they had those jerseys that were like um, kind of like an homage to the Pacers jerseys. They were yellow, and then the other team had the blue. Um, so yeah, finally going back to Indiana like they were supposed to. But yeah, what an odd city to have an All Star game. Cleveland and Indiana, it's not where you think like All Star games would be. But yeah, got other hoops news. Shaq's jersey was retired the other
Big
night
Shaq.
for the Orlando Magic. Shout out to Shaq. It's really cool to see that. Really cool to see him and Penny together again. Penny's speech for him was great. Big Penny fan. Big fan of those two together. Wish they had won a ring, but it's what it is.
Yeah, there was a time when that duo was. There's a couple of like monumental sports moments for our generation. It's like Ken Griffey Jr., Iverson, but then there was a time when like Shaq was the biggest thing in the world. This dude was rapping, he was doing movies, but him and Penny on the court was like magic, no pun intended. And you have it. I was like I said on Ask Grapsody, I had the Penny sneakers with the Shaq jersey, and like nobody in the world could tell me anything. When Kazam came out, what y'all know about Kazam? When Kazam came out, I was like, hey yo, Shaq is that guy. They dropped Snickers and candy bars from the sky, man. Come on, what kind of get me in there? Let me get 3 wishes, Shaq.
Terrible, terrible movie.
So awful, god awful.
Terrible movie. But yeah, man, Shaq and Penny were on top of the world at one point. I thought that they were going to get a ring at one point. They got very close. Houston Rockets annihilated those guys. Hakeem put Shaq in his place.
Hakeem wasn't letting nobody get nothing that year.
No, and then sorry.
All good.
Then MJ came back to the league the following year. Got revenge for that loss in the playoffs before that. Swept those guys right up out of here.
Damn. Tough one. With the 45 jersey.
It was deserved. I thought about it on Ask Grapsody a little bit, but I was so upset watching because I was a fan of that Magic's team, but I was so upset watching them beat the Bulls in the playoffs. And Horace Grant was on that team. They lifted Horace Grant up on their shoulders and celebrated, and I was just like, yeah, nah.
Damn.
Nah, we can't let this stand. Nah.
Jordan don't let nothing stand. He's kind of like Hulk Hogan in that point. He's like, if you get a win, I'm getting my win back. Like there's nothing about it. Like I will come out of retirement to get my win back. He came out of retirement to get his win back.
No, Jordan is definitely one of those dudes that's never going to forget it if you beat him. I always picture him losing, and then it turns into like the Kill Bill music, and like everything starts turning red, and he's just looking around like, nah.
Anytime he walks back to the locker room, you're like, man, he's going to kill someone.
So, yeah, but that's the thing that makes him great. And that's the reason why he's never lost in the finals, because it's just like, nah, I'm not going to let you beat me. Like, just the will of this guy. Seeing him get mentioned on SmackDown last night as well, also very, very funny.
It's The Rock.
In the city that they were in, very fitting. I laughed very hard at it. But yeah. Shout out to Shaq. Also, shout out to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs this year.
Kansas City Chiefs. Wow, they did it again.
It was a good Super Bowl for at least the second half. The first half, I was just sitting there like,
what is this?
It's getting a little boring.
I wasn't watching it the first half. I was out working, and then I got home and I started watching the New Japan show because I'm like, I don't really watch NFL on a weekly, monthly basis at all. Still haven't completely came back since Kaepernick. I don't know, it just feels weird for me. So I didn't
Yeah.
watch any of it, but then like I had gotten done with the New Japan show, and then no, I was in that match that was felt like 500 hours. I legit like that match started. I like got high. I like ate a sandwich. I went outside. I came back and it was like in the middle of it. And then I like drank a soda. I like did a dance. I listened to some beats. And then I came back and they were still. I looked at the screen at one point. I was like, this match is still going on.
Yeah, that main event was very, very long. I'm not sure if it needed to be that long, but
But yeah, I was watching that. So eventually, I was on online, and everybody's like start talking about overtime, and then eventually I clicked on to see what was going on, and I saw Pat Mahomes earning his MVP status and earning why he is already one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time by winning the Super Bowl for his team.
yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't really watch football like I used to do since the Cap stuff. I'll watch it socially, and so
Mm-hmm.
uh, went to a Super Bowl party, and the whole time I was just like, yeah, 49ers got to put these guys away early, man. You can't let these guys hang around. And I was sitting there the whole first half, like, all right, you got to put up more points because you give this guy some room, he is going to beat you. And so at halftime, when it was a 7 point game, I said, you got to feel pretty good if you're the Kansas City Chiefs or Kansas City Chief fans because we've seen them do this before. We've seen them come back from 10 point leads. So I was like, I don't know. This 7 point lead is not safe. And by the time they scored that touchdown, I was like, yep, that might be game, man. And sure enough,
That's what separates the goods from the greats. I think like going at if Tom Brady was in the same situation and you left him one touchdown to come back, not enough. If Peyton Manning's in that same situation and you leave him one touchdown, not enough. He's gonna come back. Like that's not a comfortable lead at all with a great quarterback. And so it was. I live in the Bay Area, Oakland, California. San Francisco 49ers are a hop, skip, and a jump away from here. So the city, I can feel the city even not watching the game. And then when things started going bad, I'm like, damn, this isn't gonna end well. And you could legit, you've been a part of city being excited for something and then not getting it, and just like that feeling, it's just like a dark cloud over the city. Felt like that here in the Bay Area.
no, I experienced it the year that we went to the Super Bowl and lost, and I was just sitting there like, is it? I mean, but speaking of, shout out to Devin Hester. Congratulations on this Hall of Fame induction.
Yes,
Um,
yes, goat.
yeah, for sure. You
Mm-hmm.
couldn't tell me nothing during that Super Bowl first play of the game. He's running it in for that touchdown. I was like, nah, we're winning. Fuck out of here, man. We're winning, coach. And yeah, the fucking SpongeBob meme. 2 hours later, yeah, no, not the W I thought we were gonna get, man. Yeah, yeah,
But you could just feel the sorrow in this. Like everybody's just
yeah.
like that Monday could be like two totally different things. Like it could either be the greatest feeling in the world or just complete sorrow, and that's what it felt like. Also, on that same thing, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the terrible tragedy that happened at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl celebration. Just like tired of it, Phil.
Yeah,
I
that
can't,
violence is
man.
is
It's
is
like you
awful.
guys. And that day there was a bunch more. It's like you guys stop.
Yeah, it was awful. It was awful news to see that day. I think that the Chiefs handled it as best as they could. I saw
Mhm.
Mahomes went to the Children's Hospital and visited some of the kids that were injured.
Yeah.
That was a good gesture. But man, just that part of it that there were like 10 or 11 children that were injured. Um, that's horrible. So yeah, best wishes to everybody involved in that. I think that there was one death reported. I don't know if there was
Mhm.
more than that, but even that's just too many. Like it's ridiculous.
Tired of all these situations being marred by this like Can't go to the bar, can't go to the club, can't go to a festival, can't go to a Super Bowl celebration, can't go to school. It's like, dude, what? uh, Where are you supposed to be safe at? Like, what is this? Like, what kind of a world and life is this? It's pretty terrible. So, prayers and everything out to all the victims and anybody affected by this. Just terrible, terrible, terrible news. What else is happening on the non-wrestling front before we get into it? You listen to any good music this week? You saw that viral I don't know what you would want to call it, Sexy Red water broke on the music video with Drake while SZA's there and they're I'm like, what's going on here?
I don't know what that video was. I've only seen clips of it. I haven't seen the whole video, but when I heard the Drake album, I was like, that song is gonna get a video, man. Like,
yeah, like why? How could you not?
I haven't seen the whole video, and it looks like some craziness. Up close, the Glorilla record is everywhere, and I'm just like, yeah, we got Bron in the we got Bron in the gym with his shirt off, rapping the lyrics to it and dancing. I was just like, what is going on here?
Come on, we know Bron in the gym shirtless rapping videos are the best videos.
Him doing all of the words to Glorilla though was kind of crazy. Like,
Bron is wild, and it's funny because he never knows the words, but he knew all the words to this one.
That's what I'm saying.
Up?
It was wild.
What's up, Bron?
Very wild, but yeah, man. I see people that are like, all right, like LA Knight is petitioning to get Usher at the Super Bowl to do and of course Bailey's trying to get Paramore, but no, Glorilla doing Glow makes the most sense in the world for Naomi.
Yeah, that's what we want. We don't want like what if LA Knight was in the position to have that, but like a mid-card match, bro. I'm like, what are you saying? Like, what you think Usher about to pull up for a mid-card match? It's LA Knight, dude. What is he about to have? Did you watch this? You watched the Usher thing? I didn't get to watch it in full yet, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was a good super halftime show. I think people put a lot on it. I seen Charlamagne.
Well, of course.
Charlamagne tried to say it was the greatest of all time, and I was like, nah, it's not.
But, I'm like, bro, Prince and Michael Jackson have been up there. It's hard to be like, like what?
Usher did his thing. Alicia Keys was in the building.
Alicia Keys was way in the building, brother. Wow. Swiss Beats had to have like his hand on the Glock at one point because Usher was wilding.
Nah, he said he was cool with it. He put out that Instagram post and was like, y'all focusing on the wrong thing. Like, he's cool.
Ain't that the same thing that Keke Palmer's husband said? It's cool. It's all good.
Behind
closed doors, like, yo, watch out, bro.
That's not what he said. That he got himself in trouble because he was.
Oh yeah, he was like this nigga Usher wilding.
He was like, what are you wearing? All this other stuff. Like,
he put a little too much extra sauce on it. You're just supposed to be like, yo, Usher, watch out, big bro. Like, don't steal my girl, Mr. Steal Your Girl. It's crazy.
Yeah, but no, we've seen this guy Usher in action too many times to be surprised by him on that night.
Didn't he headbutt somebody's butt at one point too? Like this?
Yeah.
That sure is so funny, dude.
Nah.
I love that. Again, Boondocks is right. He is just like, they got Usher 100% on the money. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I love have you seen the writer that wrote that episode was saying that that's based on something that really happened?
No.
Yes.
I'm not surprised, honestly.
It's based on a real incident with his wife and Usher. And so that's why I'm like, good. We've seen this guy Usher in action too many times to be shocked by this guy.
Menace. It's crazy.
He's a menace out here. I was sitting watching it like, being hugged up on somebody's wife like that is insane.
In front of like 100 million people, like this is like the most watched Super Bowl of all time, and like everybody saw this. Yeah,
that wasn't Aaron McGruber. A shock. It was one other writer for the show. I forget his name. I have to look it up. But he did an interview not too long ago, and he talked about it. So I'm not surprised that Usher did that, but he did his thing. Like I said, Alicia Keys was in the building. Her was looking fire as well.
Shout out to her.
Lil Jon,
Vallejo, baby.
Yeah, Lil Jon, Luda were also there. Cool performance, like I said. Shout out to him. Shout out to the Chiefs. Devin Hester. Julius Peppers as well, Mongo as well. Mongo's in the hospital, unfortunately, but glad to see he got the Hall of Fame nod beforehand. Um, yeah, good night at the Hall of Fame for Bears players, but as usual, when it's actually time to win something, not in the building.
You know, they could get awards in other places.
Yeah.
You got the greatest basketball player of all time, Phil. All right, it's his birthday. Take it. Take it.
Yeah. Shout out to the GOAT. I know if you want to hop into some super chats and helper chats before we talk about another GOAT.
Yeah, we got a couple in here. Bad Libby, I think is what it is, says rock on the marks except Cody to get booed.
Expect Cody to get booed. I don't think that's gonna happen.
I wouldn't. Yeah, no, me neither. Orion Ben 66 says bow to the queen. Congrats to Aminata, queen banger.
Yeah, man. Big congratulations to Queen Aminata. Long overdue getting the contract, getting that all elite graphic last night, and getting a big W. I've been waiting for the W more than the graphic, unlike some people, because I'm like, yo, she's smoking these matches, man. I'm trying to see that W happen. So it's good to see her get the W and the graphic on the same night.
What an exciting time, Philip Lindsey. A few weeks ago, the homeboy Brian Keith got the graphic, and Aminata has been incredible for a bunch of years now. We've known that she's an incredible talent, but for it to be on the main stage now and her to be one of legit the mainstays of the company with almost a match on every show that they present is awesome. And so for her to get this big win in a really fun match with Anna Jay, really love the finish. It's just amazing. She really deserves it. The aura like nobody else. She's her presentation, the way that she works, like everything about it is like she's a big star. And what an exciting time with what this AEW women's division has developed into. Some stuff that's happening really soon. Like, yo, oh my God, this division's about to destroy.
Yeah, really cool to see it. Really cool to see like her get to tell her story. I know she did the sit down interview with Renee, which was good. She talked about stuff that I knew a little bit about because she tweets about it every now and then. But I think she has a great story. Also, the fact that she is the first African-born woman to be signed to any major promotion. That's fire.
Hard.
Black History for you in a month full of Black History.
Come on.
So yeah, it's really great to see her get that moment.
And potentially they have started the Ring of Honor Women's Television title tournament, and Queen Aminata is pretty much, it looks like, up there to be one of the ones to win. So she could potentially be the first ever ROH Women's Television Champion, which is going to be even more amazing. A lot of really exciting stuff happening. So shout out to her. It's not really, the graphic is the new thing, but she's had a contract for a while at this point.
Yeah.
Van Twinblade says, I got a show to pay for tomorrow. Run down the card. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have the card? I'll run it down if you have it.
Yeah, in front of me, so.
Shout out to Van Twinblade. Yeah, we got you, bro. Chaos Control says the thing with the Boondocks is realizing how many of the episodes are based on real things. Yeah, honestly, it's like that show could just be going on forever at this point. Like it could never end. It could just be a show that happens to the end of time because all these stories continuously happen. Like if he just did like the last year in hip hop, like that's 50 episodes of the Boondocks, you know?
Yeah, no, there's a bunch of things within the last 4 years alone that would make great episodes.
If he did the last 4 years, that's like 200 episodes worth of the Boondocks with how much stuff, like them taking on COVID, them taking on all this rap stuff, them taking on anything. Like it just would be crazy. So yeah, shout out to y'all. That's all of our super chats for now. We'll get into some more later, I'm sure.
Okay, got some Humper chats for you. Of course, if you want to send us a Humper chat, that's humperchats.com/Fightful. I'm sure we've got some. Okay, we got one from Black Phoenix brand. He says, what would be the better Mania closing shot? Watching Cody celebrate finishing the story, or Rock kicking Roman out of the bloodline for failing with him standing over fallen Roman, raising the one finger. I think it's Cody. I think
Cody.
Cody winning is the one. Um, and at this point, if that's not how we're ending Mania, I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, no,
No,
and I don't think it should be both also. Like
no.
If Cody wins, it needs to be his moment. We don't need to be ending the show being like The Rock. We need to be ending the show being like Cody finished the story. You guys dumb stop it. We need to be done with that. But yeah, this moment needs to be all about Cody. It can't be The Rock is the main, like Sports Center and everybody's talking about Sports Illustrated talking about The Rock after this. Not the way to end it.
Yeah, I think it needs to be Cody's moment.
Mm-hmm.
From Addy712, how funny would it be if Cody never finishes his story, never wins the title, but then in 2055, his daughter wins the title and ends racism, doing everything her daddy never could? None of that sounds funny at all. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I'm laughing. Liberty is gonna win the WWE Championship, though. That like is a fact. So,
Hey man, that'd be dope. Third generation wrestler.
now
That'd be
all
cool.
jokes aside, dude, y'all can't do not
No.
Cody. You guys cannot do Cody like this. After all this, after we're gonna get into it, like after how they be talking about him too, yo, do not do Cody like this 2 times in a row. That's not worth it.
No, he can't lose 2 years in a row. That'd be awful.
Mm-mm.
From Tony P, he says Lee almost won this week with what he did to the infantry. A gold medal instigating move. But after that Bucks Grizzlies game, Doc Rivers detractors were out in full force with big levels of hate and petty. So Doc Rivers haters have won the petty of the week.
Well
Doc Rivers being the coach of the East team for the All-Star game is interesting. Like,
what's going on here?
How did this happen? Like he hasn't coached that many games, and he doesn't have a winning record right now as a coach for the Bucks. So I don't know how this happened, but all right, yeah.
Like, was he just in the NBA office? They're like, oh, Doc Rivers here. Let's have him do it. Like, what?
Yeah, we need a coach who's just like, hey, what's Doc doing? Yeah, nah.
I'm very confused about this. And people have been, but the Doc River haters, like Tony P says, have been out in full force and well deserved because, like, remember coming into the season, Phil, like what the expectations were for this team, and
Yes.
Dame's there, and what happened here? Like they were supposed to be like number 1 seed, like we're supposed to be like they're dominating, and they're not, and they had to fire their coach and replace them with Doc Rivers in the middle of the season. What the hell's going on here?
I have no idea what's going on with the Bucks. I said this after they took a beating on Tuesday night, and I tweeted out like, "What is going on?" And all of these wrestling
I forgot about your
like, what do you mean the Young Bucks are EVPs? Like I'm talking about sports, buddy. Like there's other things in the world other than wrestling.
They're not called the Bucks anymore, anyways.
Yeah, I get some people were joking, but I also was just like, okay,
it's annoying.
But. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that team, man. Seeing them take that beating on Tuesday to the Heat without Jimmy Butler, I was just like, what? Wow.
Is everything
What's
okay
happening,
at home,
man?
you guys? Maybe they just like got in their own heads and got into a comfortable position because they have been killing it the last couple of years of like, oh, we're gonna be fine, we're gonna dominate when we get there, and didn't practice. I don't know what the hell. Like these are all-star, like top of the class players too, so it's not like these are some slouches.
Yeah,
like it's still a good squad.
I don't know what's going on, man. I think their defense is an issue from the games I've watched, and I've been saying that all season. But Dame also just don't look like Dame from the Trailblazers no more. You can see he's aging a bit. Coaching is not really great. Middleton has been inconsistent because he's been injured, but hey, man,
Dan was trying to go be on the beach in Miami, and y'all sent it to Milwaukee. Like, you know what time it is.
But hey, man, I don't feel sorry for him. It's Milwaukee.
Yeah, you went to a great team. You know, like oh damn, you got traded to a good team that could potentially win it. Like, oh, sorry, dude. But Oakland, man, the God. He should have came over here, played with the boys. He could have been at home.
Yeah. Uh, more from Tony P. Uh, Also, G.R.R. Martin is right about fans. I can remember a week where I seen more shit engagement tweets and petty complaints from fans going apeshit over the Yuka glitch, bitching why Keith got a live all elite graphic and Queen didn't. Yeah, I
So what
ignore a lot of
is
stuff.
it with this people stalking the roster page and being like, this person isn't on the roster page anymore? What is this obsession with that?
I don't know what the Yuka thing was last night, but I saw it, and so I saw a news site reported it, and so I just retweeted it, and I didn't really read the whole thing. And then when I really paid attention to it, I was like, "Yo, what is this? Like, why are we giving this?"
That's not an official thing if they're not on the roster page anymore. That's like not how this works, you
It
guys.
could, yeah. So of course she was re-added to the roster page last night. A lot of people were relieved. You could put out a very funny tweet that was just emojis with her like basically doing a few. I thought that was funny. But yeah, a lot of overreacting to things over the last few days. Not just that stuff and or the Queen Amanada thing that people overreacted to. Oh, she got a graphic, but it wasn't on TV. It's like she got a graphic and she signed, guys. Who
Why
cares?
do
It
what
just
is the
I don't know. But
mm,
it was a lot. People overreacting as usual, looking for anything to complain about.
kind of on the Rampage front before we move forward? You saw the Sammy Guevara thing that happened?
The injury? What?
Mm-hmm. The shooting star press.
I didn't see the injury when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw it reported and I was like, ooh, that looks not good. But
Mm-hmm.
hopefully Jeff is okay.
Yeah, I watched the match. I watched the show. And crazy match. By the way, like they are going nuts. Jeff Hardy is having a really good run. Sammy Guevara hit a Jeff Hardy spot on Jeff Hardy off the ladder through a table. Dope stuff. But yeah, I don't think like be earlier this week there was videos from the actual before the Rampage match of people in the crowd being like, look at Sammy Guevara,
Yeah,
blah blah
I
blah, and
didn't see that.
people took it as like, here he is again. They tried to like bury Sammy, and he's botching and blah blah blah, doing all this, trying to make it a Sammy blame game. And it's like, dude, it was an accident. And watching the match yesterday, total accident. Like Sammy
Yeah.
Guevara didn't try to break Jeff Hardy's nose in this match. But I got some reports on the end of it because on the show, the big homie attacks Sammy Guevara, hits him with the world's strongest slam. They cut to the next thing. At the live event, a couple of reports from people in the live event, there was more to the beatdown, and the big homie apparently put Sammy Guevara through a table with the world's strongest slam off the second rope that they didn't show, or there was short for time or some was cut. I don't know why. I don't know what happened, but knowing that, because kind of going along the Queen Amanada thing, is like it seems like they were short for time. They could potentially have put it on the
Yeah.
on the screen, but they were just like moving through it. So, but yeah, I still want to see that table spot though. So somebody put that up, you guys. Like I know it's somewhere out there. But Rampage again continues to be one of the funnest shows that AEW has. Like it it had a stigma for a while because people were talking all this shit, and they just like quietly just started having great lucha matches and other great matches consistently on the show, and being one of the best shows of the week every week now at this point.
Yeah. I think Rampage has been a fun show for the last few weeks. It's been one of their better shows. It's kind of where all the Outcast stuff has been, and I
Yeah.
think the Outcast stuff has been fun. I thought the Outcast segments last night were funny. We don't get a whole bunch of like love stories in wrestling, and I thought they've done really
Yes.
well with the Ruby and Cool Hand and stuff. So
Like on the surface, I don't want to sound corny, but like this, it's like sweet of like Ruby and Cool Hand, like the story of it, and there's funny, and it's just like a romantic comedy, and like you don't get a lot of that in pro wrestling. It's interesting and fun.
yeah, I've enjoyed the Outcast split stuff. I've enjoyed the Ruby stuff. And if this just means we're getting Ruby as a babyface again, I'm all here for it.
Another heavy hitter in the women's division, like Ruby, Serena, Thunder. I can go on and on. It's crazy. It's insane. Mercedes.
From Wonga, good day, Grapsy fellas, Zack Saber, Danielson, and the War Dogs United Empire match was fun. Also, Heat beat the Bucks so badly. We got we got thanks this minutes. Yeah, we did. You know it's bad when they're putting Giannis's brother on the floor, and then we don't see him. We got dances minutes. I was like, all right, man. Okay, dog.
No, no be hating. But every time I hear Giannis's name, I think of that Tony Khan clip, and I just laugh. So
Yeah. Giannis had the kapoop. If you guys haven't seen this clip we're talking about, man, every time I see it pop up on Twitter, I laugh at it. It's hilarious.
It's so funny, man. Shout out to TK. Just so excited about life, man. Oh, man.
From Nelson Muntz, he says, "Can Dax please be like Morph in X-Men cartoon and just be a background character that just briefly appears? I don't want AEW to see Dax get longer matches every time he wrestles. Give that extra time to women instead than a tag team wrestler." I mean, I thought the Dax match this week was good. I mean, when they have given him singles matches, he's been pretty good. But yeah, X-Men 97 trailer was everywhere this week.
Everybody is very excited. Our generation is eating well because everybody that was going to be excited about this was very, very excited about this. That was the time, Philip Lindsey. We were all watching that damn X-Men show. And so for it to be back in this capacity I love when things that are like aimed for our demographic hit hard, and this one feels like it hits hard, you know?
Yeah, it was a good week for 90s kids. If you were excited about the X-Men stuff, you got basically Rock from 1998 popping up on our
Straight
TV
up.
screens. It was a lot of good things to enjoy if you're a 90s kid.
Yes.
Let's see, another one from Nelson Muntz. He says, Bishop joined the X-Men as an official member. Now I just need Vikingo to leave AAA as long as Conan is there.
That was a hell of a flip.
Also respect the Queen, an actual star in the making by just wrestling good matches. Queen Aminata. Yeah, I didn't know where you were going with that Bishop reference at first, Nelson, but flipping it around and saying, I hope this guy signs, and then throwing a little bit of a jab over there, Conan. Yeah, I guess.
My guy Conan was in the news this week.
Yeah, go figure. I saw that tweet a bunch of times about him talking about politics and buddy.
Conan talking about politics, bro. I'm like, what are you? What is?
You like his podcast?
I've actually gotten that that DM before. I'm like, oh shit, Conan hit me up. This is cool. And then you like my? I'm like, bro, get out of my DMs with this bullshit.
Hey, man,
I don't like your podcast, Conan. That's the answer. No, none of us do. Now they got a pretty big thing over there. I'm not gonna say that, but
yeah, there's some controversy going around Conan.
It's like when you know that these are your words on somebody else's face.
Yeah. Can neither confirm or deny, but it'd have been a hell of a coincidence if it was not what it looks like. Hell
of a coincidence if it's not what it looks like.
I don't know, man. It looked away, and I think that it probably is away. But
Definitely.
no, man.
It looked away and confirmed it's away.
I don't know, man. Yeah, the other thing that we didn't talk about in basketball news was this report that LeBron may have been possibly going to Warriors at one point. And I was just like,
why are they saying this?
That came from his camp, man. I don't care what nobody says. That came from his camp.
I didn't know. You didn't know, dude. What do you mean you didn't know? Like, that's not how this works.
Yeah, this whole. So, if you guys did not see this, I believe that was Wednesday. A report dropped that before trade deadline, there were some talks of LeBron going to the Warriors, and just the way that it was reported was very weird. They acted like the organizations had a conversation. Rich Paul didn't know anything about it. Bron himself didn't know anything about it. But it was just like between the two teams, and there was talks, and basically it got back to him, and he was just like, no, I just want to stay put. And I was just like,
you think they're going to have negotiations with the biggest basketball player in the world without the biggest basketball player in the world being involved?
without your representation,
Without Rich Paul being involved, come on, you guys.
there's no way. That definitely came from the Lakers camp. I feel like he's trying to put pressure on them because he was upset that they didn't make any big moves over the All-Star.
Right.
I mean, before the All-Star break.
He like, y'all didn't make no moves. I could have been gone. And I'm like, what?
I think he's just putting out feelers out there like, hey, look, I could, make that move, but
Well, yeah, of course. We know that.
before I do that, y'all can just bring some other players in here to help me out. But, I'm just going to put this Knicks towel over my shoulders. No, for no reason, This news comes out out of nowhere after the trade deadline, the day of a game that he's not playing. All coincidences, right?
It's so silly because he could just say whatever. He doesn't have to throw subliminals. You're LeBron James. You could just be like, bro, fix this. You don't have to be like doing the Knicks towel thing, doing this dumb.
The hourglass tweet as well.
Come on, dude. What are you doing?
I feel like this is him trying to put pressure on them. And I know some people would like to see him get fired as well. So maybe it's part of that too. But I think it's mostly that they didn't make any moves over trade deadline.
Play some better basketball.
This is what I keep saying, man. Play some better basketball with the team you have. I had to listen to Lakers fans over the summer tell me that y'all had the best offseason. So what's happening? Why do y'all need to make moves again?
What happened? Something happened. They won that tournament. That's what happened. They won that in-season tournament. They were like, we're done here. No, that's not how this works.
Yeah, and that was the same thing. When they won that in-season tournament, I had all these people, they're gonna win a championship now. They're gonna raise a real banner. I was like, well,
I don't think so.
Not this year. We'll see, man. Maybe they're gonna make this run after All-Star break, and they're gonna end up in the top 5. But right now, best team in LA looks like the Los Angeles Clippers.
That's something.
Did not expect to be saying that, but
Clippers, the Kings.
Boys is hooping.
California just is weird over here. What's going on?
Kings are looking kind of shaky as well. That game the other night against the Suns, I don't know what's going on with the Kings, man.
Yeah. Something's in the water. In California, specifically.
I don't know, but yeah, good basketball to watch. I watch a ton of basketball, if you guys don't know this, but good basketball to watch, good hoops. But, of course, you're here for wrestling.
Yeah.
We got a really good New Japan show on Sunday ahead of the Super Bowl. If you stayed up to watch it, I stayed up to watch particularly the Okada match, his last singles match in New Japan at New Beginning, which, if you know your New Japan lore, that is the place where the Rainmaker shock happened. That's the place where he beat Tanahashi for the championship 12 years ago. So it's very fitting at the same event that he wrestled Tanahashi again, probably for the last time in the foreseeable future, which is just wild to see.
Probably not for the last time, I'd say, because I think Tanahashi's retirement match would probably be with Okada, right?
I'd have to assume so, but I have to assume also that we're not going to see them wrestle. Like,
it's gonna be a while though. Like Tanahashi ain't going. Like, at this rate, he's gonna be out here for another 20 years. It's looking like, even though he can barely move. Like, he shouldn't be. Like, this should happen like next year, but it's not.
Not only the client, the presidito, President Tanahashi, our television champion. I thought he looked good. I thought this was the best match we were going to get out of the two of them. Of course, it's not as good as some of their more iconic matches, but I thought it was a good match to end Okada's run on. Okada came out and he did his entrance, and then you could see the tears start streaming down on the way down the ramp, and you could see just like how much this meant. Tanahashi in the ring with his big like white teeth with his perfect smile at the same time, like looking out like, what's going on, bro? It's all vibes over here. Tears.
I didn't know this was what we was doing.
Yeah, but the match itself was good. We got to see Okada pull out a heavy rain. Have not seen him do that move in years. Of course, won the match. Like I said, it was a fun match. Wasn't anything that like I said, to write home like it was better than anything we've seen these two do before. But I think it was a very good note to end Okada's run on. But then afterwards, got emotional again, gave Tanahashi a big hug. You could see the tears streaming then. And even when he got the ovation, he just completely lost it and fell to his knees. It was, it was hard to watch because I'm just like in some ways I'm excited to see what he does next, but at the other end I'm just like I just can't imagine New Japan without him. Like
Yeah.
it's wild to think
New
about.
Japan and Okada are synonymous. Like that is his company. Like when I got back into New Japan, it was because I heard about Tanahashi and Okada. Like they were like, this guy in Japan, Okada was just coming up. They were like, this guy, you have to see this guy. I remember watching one of their matches at work and being like, damn, this guy's crazy. And like, he became that brand, and like everything in Japan as a whole runs through him. So for him to be leaving to America is a bittersweet moment. Yeah, that was a really emotional match, emotional time. But what a way to like end your they announced those other matches. But what a way to go, what a way to go home. Right. What the way to have his last singles match in New Japan. Perfect fitting. And it didn't have to be one of their best matches of all time. That's not what this is. That's not what this is about at that point.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. And as you said, there are 2 more matches for him. They're all like multi-man matches. Nothing that I'm really like that pressed to go watch. But
no,
this was really the send off. And you could tell from him that it felt like the end of his journey with the company. Yeah, really beautiful moment, but also I don't know, man, kind of discouraging for what Japanese wrestling is going to look like moving forward. Yeah, we got a few other multi-man matches on this card that was just kind of like, what is all this? Right, what is this? For some reason, Kenta and Chase Owens are your new IWGP heavyweight champions.
I almost shut down my computer right now.
I don't know why we're doing this. The match itself was good. I enjoyed the match, but the finish
Phil Lindsey, what the hell is going on here?
I don't know why we're doing this. I was just sitting there like, but why? Like the whole like. and don't get me wrong, I love Kenta, but I was just Kenta,
like, legit my favorite Japanese wrestler of all time, next to the other Kenta. But with Chase Owens, dude, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I didn't understand why we were doing this. I got a really good laugh at whoever that guy was at front row that kept yelling Kenta's name. Very, very funny. And Kenta at one point was like, just turned around and was like, shut your mouth.
So ain't nobody trying to hear all that.
No, this guy was very loud. But yeah, very, very weird way for God to lose the belts.
It's like you get there's a couple matches on here that were life-changing, but then you get a booking like this and a couple of New Japan bookings that you're just like, what happened?
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of been the case since the G1, where I feel like there's been really great things on some of these New Japan shows, but there are also like some kind of booking decision is just like, but why? Why are we doing this? Like, what is it for?
What is this for? And that's you don't want to end a wrestling match or any kind of feud or anything being like, why? Well, why are we? How did we get here? What's going on here?
Yeah,
unfortunate, especially for my guy Kenta, man. I mean, I know he's in the latter part of his career, but don't got to be like this.
Yeah, I don't really understand the outcome of that. But the other big thing we got here, we got a rematch between Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson. Already one of the best matches of the year. Wow. Stop me if we heard this already. Bryan in Japan having a bang of a match with somebody. But this match was amazing.
This is
start to finish, just great action. The first few minutes of them trying to put holes on each other and trying to find inventive ways to slide out of these holes, and it just looked incredible. At one point in the first 5 minutes of the match, I was just like, I just am not sure what I'm watching. And
yes.
Just the fact that they are just like, every time it looks like one of them has them like in a corner and it's got them in a hole and they kind of slide out of it, I was just like, this is just amazing. Some of the spots in there where Bryan looked like he had Zack Sabre and Zack Sabre was just talking trash to him the entire way. Love it. There's a spot where he's right next to the rope and he could get the rope break to force him to break the hole, and he won't do it. He's just like, nope, not gonna do it. Nope, looking him straight in the eyes, like,
grab the rope, Zach, grab it.
And he's looking him straight in the eyes, like, nope. Really, really good stuff. The hard kicks in this match, the back and forth. I thought the finish was great, perfect finish for this match. Perfect way to build to a third match. Because the entirety of this feud and coming into this match specifically, Zack Saber's point was, aha, you said you're the best technical wrestler in the world, but you did not tap me out. So you did not really prove anything. I'm still better than you. And Zack had to narrowly escape this match, and he had to go for the pin to win this match. And you could see the disgust on Brian's face afterwards, like, this guy, I have to give it up to him. He beat me. He had to reluctantly shake his hand, but you could see the whole time, like, nah, this ain't over.
Wait a second, Phil Lindsey. Are you describing storytelling in a wrestling match?
Very good storytelling in this
Wow.
match.
Interesting. Yeah, no, this match was wow. Wow is all I could say. Just like Phil said, 5 minutes in, you're just like, I don't really know what's going on. Like my brain can't really compute, but I know that I'm watching some amazing wrestling. And on commentary, they were describing the differences between Zack Sabre and Bryan Danielson, and I thought he made a really good point. He said that Bryan Danielson's a think ahead wrestler. Like he's thinking 3 moves ahead when he's in a match, and Zack Sabre Jr. is thinking in the now. He's thinking like, how could I turn this move that I'm doing right now into something else? How could I turn this situation into a winning combination? And that's why he thought that Zack Sabre Jr. is a better technical artist. And I was like, man, such a great way to describe their dynamics. But the strikes in this, the European uppercuts that Zack Sabre Jr. were throwing in this were insane. Bryan Danielson, like, there was a time when Bryan Danielson was in WWE and he would throw kicks and you're just like, he is not doing this. Like he is really like off on the gas. But no, in this match, it's like, oh no, he is kicking the shit out of Zack Sabre Jr. And the points, I love there was some controversy in this match of them in a position kicking each other and slapping each other in the face. And that's a part of their appeal. That's a part of what they do. Like this isn't out of the realm of what we've seen them do for the last 20 years. But I love the point of Zack Sabre Jr. giving up his back and Bryan Danielson being like, this motherfucker. The point of Bryan still underestimating Zack Sabre Jr. at this point. Like that's why he lost the match, because he's still of like, you're just a little bro. You're never gonna be in the same. You're never gonna be able to be a better technical wrestler than me. And he still was at points in the match just playing with him and not really putting the pressure on him because he's still not giving him the respect that he deserves. And Zack Sabre Jr. made him pay for it. I think he worked a way better match than the first match. He knows every counter to every move that Bryan Danielson has. I think that the Etchicero match was like fuel for Zack Sabre Jr. because he already knew like hella Bryan Danielson counters, but then he saw that match and he was like, wait, this guy got Bryan on the ropes. Like no one has Bryan like Zack Sabre Jr. didn't have Bryan like Etchicero had him in his match in the first match, but the second match he came with some other strategy where Bryan just didn't really know what he had got himself into, which is crazy because he had already had a match with them. But yeah, the finish building to where do you think this third match is going to be, I think is just great for the story. And them both kind of giving it up in the post-match little, interview, I think is just amazing. Bryan in Japan and also announced this week, Bryan in Mexico. It's like, yo, what is going on? We are eating good.
Also have Bryan versus Jun Akiyama tonight. Wow.
Next week.
It's next week? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's off because of the
that's right. All-Star game.
And that is what they're just like giving Bryan Danielson like, what match do you want? What dream match do you want? Here you go, my friend. It's crazy, man. He talked about wanting a match with Blue Panther his entire career, and he's getting it.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, amazing match. I think the idea is that Zack had prepared for this, and you can see he did his homework going into this match, and he still narrowly escaped Bryan. He still had to go for that pin because it was just like, this guy, like, can I get this guy to tap? I can't get this guy. I just can't get out of a lot of these holds he's doing. Like I gotta end this match. All the
Amazing.
strike spots. I thought, of course, Twitter being Twitter and people not understanding what anybody meant, and if they were like, "This is wrestling," and I'm just like, no. The thing that makes this match great is not just like the holds and stuff, but just the fire, the spots where they were doing the strike exchange is, um, no, it felt like that hit harder because we're also seeing these guys do this excellent technical wrestling.
Yep.
And so when it did break down and they started striking each other, it's like, man, what the hell? Like, tap
Mhm.
out. Like, get
Yeah,
the fuck out of here.
exactly. Yeah, they
Like,
don't really understand the concept of what they're doing. They just think two guys are in there beating each other up, and they definitely are, but it's like part of the story of like what you're saying. These are two guys going hold for hold, and they know both of each other's holds, and they can't. So it's like, I'm gonna just slap the shit out of you at this point because I don't know what else is gonna get you to stop.
yeah, I'm sick of you, basically. Like,
I'm sick of you.
I'm sick of you. Like, I'm sick of you. I keep throwing out moves. You got a counter for it. I have a counter for you. Submit. Like,
Yes.
like that's it. Submit. Get out of here. But yeah, excellent match. Definitely on par with their match from Wrestle Dream, and that was one of my favorite matches from last year. This is already
Definitely.
one of my favorite matches from this year.
Brian.
Very much looking forward to the third match. I don't know where it'll be. Maybe it'll be at Wrestle Dream again. Maybe it'll be at Forbidden Door. I don't know, but very
Wembley?
much looking forward to it. Wembley would be dope. Of course, Zack Sabre Jr. is a UK wrestler. Yeah, I love Zack Sabre getting this spot with Bryan. Not just because we've heard for years that he's wanted to match with him. They're both really good technical wrestlers, but Zack Sabre is just so good. He's so amazing, and I'm just like, man. It's hard to say that I don't think he gets his credit, but I think among some Western fans, he doesn't get the credit that he should.
Yeah, no, that's 100% a fact. I think him kind of honing his career in the UK and specifically in New Japan, for a while there just wasn't as many eyes on New Japan, and he was doing work. I think that regardless if he does have eyes, even if you see it with your own eyes and you know it, it's sometimes not even appreciated by people who know what he's doing just because it is technical wrestling and sometimes it could go over your head. Like if you watch this match not really knowing what's going on and what these guys are aiming to do, you're like, oh, I don't like. I hear a lot of people say that they don't like Bryan Danielson just because of this type of stuff. They don't understand it. And so Zack Sabre Jr. is in that same place of like every wrestler, and a lot of fans say that he's the best technical wrestler, but like the other fans don't really understand it. And I think people are now starting to understand it. Being able to be in a match with two high profile matches with who many consider, the American fans consider, the greatest technical wrestler of all times, got him to that spot that he needs to be in. And this has primed him to become the IWGP heavyweight champion this year, I think, with the performances that he's been putting on.
Yeah, man. I would like to see that for Zach. Kind of long overdue. When he had that New Japan Cup win, I thought that was the year they were going to put the belt on him. He looked incredible in that tournament. But I could see it happening. If not this year, maybe next year, I can see it happening. Yeah. Watching every time I see him wrestle Zack Sabre as well, I'm just like, man, Bryan, I want the Gresham match, man. Like, I'm still sad that we did not get that yet. And we probably would have if he was still in Ring of Honor. I want that match, man.
I'm like, what can't happen? Because I got to figure out what Gresham's impact status is. Because this match has got to happen. Also, we're really close to it. I know they're doing this. I thought that do we have time for this? I don't think we have time for this before Revolution, but Brian Keith and Eddie Kingston had got into the Brian Keith and Eddie Kingston match, which led to Bryan Danielson coming down and endorsing Brian Keith. I hope that endorsement leads to a match with Brian Keith and Bryan Danielson, Battle of the Bryans, because when I interviewed Brian Keith the beginning of 2023, one of his, if not the number one dream match on his list, was with Bryan Danielson. There's a story behind it, and Now they're telling a story on TV. So to know that they're so close to this is amazing. So I hope that that match happens. But yeah, Meltzer gave the match 5.5 stars. If you guys care about that at all, um, people have been hung up on stars and reviews, and some for some reason everybody got back to the Kurt Angle deserves 5 stars, or the reviews aren't worth anything because Kurt Angle never got a 5 stars. And I'll say it here because I've said it on Twitter. If it's a 5 star match to you, it's a 5 star match. If Dave Meltzer thought it was a 4.5 star match, if Dave Meltzer thought it was a 4 star match, that's his opinion. It doesn't matter. If you thought that Rock and or Cody and Roman from WrestleMania last year was a 5 star match, it was a 5 star match because that's what you think. It's your personal opinion. You don't have to have anybody else determine what you think. You don't have to have anybody else care. It doesn't matter, Meltzer, whatever to whatever. These guys got 5.5 stars, and it's funny because like Bryan Danielson is the greatest wrestler of all time now to me. And for a long time, he didn't have 5 star matches. He doesn't have a bunch like Ospreay. Like you would think that he'd be on the level of Ospreay, but I think he has less than 5 5 star matches at this point. So like it's crazy to think about.
Yeah, I don't really understand the 5 star debate. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like, hey man, it happened. It's over. Like I just don't understand. Like, yeah, Kurt Angle probably should have a 5 star match, but he doesn't. And
But he
I
don't.
feel like people that are like, oh, well, he doesn't have a 5 star match, so this invalidates everything you think. No, it doesn't. That's
No,
just
it
his
doesn't.
opinion. Like, and it's fair to not agree with his opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the biggest deal in the world. I don't know why people keep trying to bring that up and go, oh, well, look at this. Like Brian didn't have a 5 star match before this period. You gave him the 5 star match now, so everything you said for this amount of years is dumb. And it's like, no, you just don't agree with him, and it's fine if you don't agree with him.
Yeah, and they don't really understand how Meltzer works. Meltzer, a lot of these people started watching wrestling very recently, so they don't understand how these things worked. For a while, Meltzer wasn't giving anything in WWE five
Right.
stars for like years and years. Like all the matches that you think are amazing for the last like before like 2014 there was like two I think in total. Now there's like maybe 10 now because of like Gunther and in the NXT matches, but for a while this just wasn't a thing. And Kurt Angle was a victim of that because at that time Meltzer just wasn't into American wrestling like that. And like he was grading, he'll probably say it was all on the level, but they were starting at a lower level than everybody else just because of what was going on. Because some of the matches I'm like, how is like the WrestleMania 25, which I think is the greatest WWE match of all time, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, like that's not a 5 star match, but I think so. It doesn't matter that Meltzer doesn't think so. Is where we're gonna land with it, you know?
Right. Look, that's his opinion on what is or isn't a 5 star match, but that's one person's opinion. I just don't
Yes.
understand why people get so hung up on this. But yeah, I man have been thoroughly enjoying Brian's time with AEW. Just this kind of stuff, getting to see him go to Japan, getting to see him wrestle wrestlers like Echizero, getting to see him do totally different things. Man, when all is said and done, I think his AEW run is gonna go down as like one of the greatest periods of his career. Like easily.
What a career. Thinking about the time, I don't know if I've ever told this story on the podcast, but it's funny because before we got on this podcast, somebody was tweeting about that. But in 2001, WCW, Vince McMahon bought WCW, and ECW died, and I was a diehard ECW guy. Like I loved ECW so much, like it was everything to me. It had died, so like two important things: wrestling was monopolized like within a month, like shit was crazy, and so there was like this void that needed to be filled, and so I had gotten to independent wrestling later that year. Early 2002, as we know, Ring of Honor began. I got the first Ring of Honor tape a few months after it came out, and I remember I got it specifically because of Amazing Red. Amazing Red was the guy. That tape, and the main event of that show is Low-Ki versus Christopher Daniels versus Bryan Danielson. And I
Yes.
remember taking that tape to my friend's house and being like, this show is really cool. I love the Amazing Red match. I think Amazing Red wrestles Jay Briscoe, rest in peace, in the first match. And I'm like, the only thing I don't like about this show is the main event, because these guys are in here doing this grappling. They're all like in the, like, it's just not the, I like spot food. They're not doing spot food. They're in there like striking and doing exactly what they did with Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson. And I remember taking it to my friend, like, I'm not a fan of this guy. Like, online, Bryan Danielson, the way that we talk about him now, like, people on the internet were talking about him in 2002. They were like, this guy's the greatest wrestler of all time. You have to see him. He had won the best of the Indies tournament here in the Bay Area in APW. So he had this thing, and I was like, I don't really like him. But something had happened like later that year. I think what happened is I started training professionally for a little bit, wrestling. If you guys didn't know, I have been in the ring. I started training professionally, and I started to understand the little things that this guy was doing. And then like this switch flipped, and I was like, oh, this guy is the greatest wrestler of all time. So like, I've seen him go from being an indie star to being, I remember Colt Cabana one time saying, you are our Luthez. Like, you are like the guy, like, you're the god of this. He went from that. I remember when he got signed to WWE being like, I don't know, man. Like, it's not like, it's way different than it is now. This was in 2008. So it was like low key had just got signed. He was another big indie name, and he didn't work out. Like, he got fired. So it was like, oh man, like, Brian, I don't know if this is going to work out. They did the NXT thing with the Miz, and I was like, oh, this definitely isn't going to work out. They're already playing this guy. But it ended up working out for a little bit. He ended up getting fired very soon after that, so shit was crazy. But then he came back, and he had some issues, but then it worked out, dude. Like, I was at WrestleMania 30. One of the greatest moments of my life, watching him hold those two belts up after I had said I didn't like him in 2002. Cut to 2014, I'm seeing the greatest moment of my life. Then this guy retires. I'm like, dude, this emotional roller coaster of what he's taking me through, I can't take it anymore. I remember that retirement speech being like, holy shit, Bryan Danielson's gone. And then Bryan Danielson comes back somehow. Oh, actually, my neck is healed. I'm back out here. Has a match with Shane McMahon for some reason. I don't know what's going on. But he's back. And
We'll
then
talk about the tag match.
Philip Lindsey. We all know my favorite wrestling moment of all time. He is the fucking reason it happened. Kofi Mania, WrestleMania 35. I cried at a wrestling show because of what this guy did. I didn't know. After that, it was like, I don't know what could he do? This guy went on to go to AEW and have another fucking career where he's having amazing matches. Just the stare down with Kenny Omega changed lives. Then he went on to have bangers with him, bangers with Hangman Page. Now they have him in this retirement run or whatever this is, having some of the greatest matches still. The match with Okada was just a month ago, and that shit was one of the best matches I've ever seen. I'm saying all that to say the greatest wrestler of all time, Bryan Danielson, we are lucky to be able to see him do this still at the highest level. And this guy has been doing it for 20 plus years at the highest level. I feel blessed as a wrestling fan to be able to watch something like that masterpiece with Zack Sabre Jr. after all these years.
Yeah, I thought if he ended his career after he retired, man, he's had an amazing career. Of course, I didn't want to see his career end that way, but I was like, man, if you just end your career on that, the fact that you had this amazing indie run, made it to WWE, actually made it to the very tippity top of the company, that's enough, right? But this guy came back, had another really, really good WWE Championship run. Got to put over one of my favorite wrestlers ever. And then I'm just like, all right, well, had a very good Roman match to end his time with the company. I don't know. Whatever we do from here is cake. I was sitting in the press conference when he debuted for AEW, watching him say, man, you guys are basically in for a ride because there's nothing like incredible pro wrestling, because you can show it to anybody. Incredible pro wrestling is fucking awesome. And I sat there like, man, this is going to be fun. Never would have imagined that at this point we would get everything we've got. Him wrestling Suzuki, like all of the
Oh,
guys he's wrestled, like just the Omega match, the Hangman match is like what a run, man. And it's not over. Like it's just
it's
this,
not over.
like it's just
Like you said,
amazing.
Jun Akiyama is next week, bro. This guy's gonna be in Arena, Mexico with the rest of the VCC. We're in for a high time. Will Ospreay's coming into AEW. Okada's coming into AEW. Like there's gonna be some. We haven't got the Ospreay match yet.
No, I feel like that absolutely has to happen sometime this year.
Definitely 1000%. And could you imagine what they're gonna do together?
Yeah,
Wow.
good
Shout
segue.
out to
'Cause
Brian.
speaking of Osprey, New Japan New Beginning ended with Osprey officially having his final match with New Japan. Very very long cage match.
What did this clock in at? I don't know officially. I need to know.
I don't have it in front of me, but very long match. Enjoyable matches and spots. At some points, I was just like, boy, this feels like a little overindulgent. But really, the story of this match is United Empire taking on the Bullet Club, led by Finlay. Um, I think it was a good spot to end Osprey's run with the company on, especially
Mhm.
because he's a big part of his last part of of the run with the company was him turning heel and being a leader of United Empire. But man, this was long, buddy. This was long, long, long. I like I said, I enjoy the story they're told. I think we could have got there in a shorter period. I think at spots it could have been executed a little bit better. But man, you're not going to be able to beat that moment of him going all that way with United Empire as a heel and coming full circle and being like this beloved figure in New Japan. Ending the show with him standing at the top of the ramp with all the United Empire up raising the crowns. I thought that was a really, really cool moment in his New Japan run on. Of course, very excited to see what he does with AEW, but man, for me, New Japan, of course, is where I discovered Will Ospreay, man. Like
Yep.
watching those junior heavyweight matches he was having, watching him transition to a heavyweight, the story and stuff he did with Okada. Man, what a time! Like it doesn't seem like 7 years he was with New Japan.
Mhm.
Doesn't seem like it because it blew by really fast. And he's kind of like Okada, where I at one point couldn't imagine him wrestling anywhere else, but
Mhm.
I think for him to get his shit off and do the same stuff he was doing there, AEW makes the most sense. Uh, Already got the announcement for his first pay per view match coming up. That will be
Mm.
Will Ospreay taking on Takeshita at Revolution. Very very excited for that match.
Nuts. Yeah, the match clocked in at 1 hour and 4 minutes and 5 seconds.
Wow. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah, I liked it though. I think if it was 45 minutes, like this would be a totally different conversation. I'd be like 5 stars, blah blah blah. I think there was just a little. It got a little overboard, but I
yeah.
understand it's Ospreay's last match. It's a big cage match. Like it needed to be that, I think, and I think that they with at the end with Ospreay and how they celebrate and everything happened. I think they executed the vision. But the real coming out of that, Gabe Kidd, man, coming out of this year, yo, hey, yo, the guy
You got
Gabe Kidd.
you got to figure out a way for this guy to lead this group, man.
I'm
Gabe
saying
Kidd is my favorite member of Bullet Club at the moment. Love
by
this guy.
far,
Love
yeah,
this guy. The way he came in and House of Fire when he came in, just him talking his shit the entire match. Loved it.
yeah,
Another
yeah.
guy that I thought came off looking really, really good was Aaron Hanare.
Mm,
Man,
mm. Big boy, throwing them blows. He got bloodied, bro. It was a
yeah, it looked
time out
nasty.
there, man. But yeah, I think that this match was a good way to kind of send off Osprey. Osprey is a funny kind of trajectory and career too. I remember off rip, I was an Osprey fan because Spot Fu, man. Like the first time I discovered this guy, he was doing shooting star presses, he's doing twistings, Phoenix splashes, he's doing all the crazy shit that is present today normally on TV, just like way different than everybody else. He was a skinny little kid out of the UK. I remember the matches with Ricochet before getting to New Japan and just remembering being like, oh, this guy's definitely gonna be somebody. And then he developed into essentially the best. Well, the way that I describe it is like the best creator wrestler that you could make. Like when I was making creator wrestlers as a kid, they pretty much were Will Ospreay. Like everything that he does, the way that he works. Uh, Prior to kind of how his main event is style is now, like when he was merging the doing a bunch of spots, high spots and flips with kind of how he is now, like that's what I imagined pro wrestling legit to be in 2024 is what Will Ospreay does. And he carved his career in New Japan and became the world champion. And I think, like you said, at one point it was like, oh, Will Ospreay is going to be here forever. Like
Yeah.
he's going to be the number one gaijin that ever has walked through here. Like he's carving his place in that. And then now we're at a place where he's leaving, and it's like, wow, him and Okada at the same time. It's like that's a heavy blow for New Japan, and it's crazy that Ospreay kind of really submitted himself and cemented himself as who he is now due to Okada. So for them to leave at the same time is like, yo, this is nuts. But yeah, I thought it was a really good way to send Ospreay off. But what's to come, Phil, has gotten me very excited. Takeshita and Ospreay at Revolution with that sold out crowd that's gonna be in there, bro. That shit's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, yeah, really good send off for Osprey, but I think even better than just giving him his send off, I thought that they got to highlight a lot of the United Empire guys.
They
You
did.
got to highlight a lot of the Bullet Club guys moving forward. I think that if you're one of those people that are like, oh well, Okada didn't put anybody over in the way out, like you didn't see like the future of the company. I think that at least in this match, you saw a lot of the younger guys that are gonna be moving up, moving forward. If you're worried about like, oh man, who's the big gaijin star? They don't have an Osprey, but I do think that man, that kid, man, bright future for that guy, man.
Very, 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 very bright. Yeah, I saw that this week of people being like, "Well, why doesn't Okada put anybody over on the way out?" It's like it's not his fault. Like he's not booking. That's he's gotten to a position where he's an icon, and they're not gonna put a bunch of people over him on the way out. That's just not how like they're the guys that they send off like this. They just historically it doesn't really work like that. You know what I mean? Like they'll have like the next guy like Naito and Sonata and all these guys kind of set up, but it's never like he beat him and then it's on the way. Cause like even when Tanahashi essentially patched the torch to Okada, he was still there the whole time. Like it was like, yeah, you're the next guy, but I'm gonna be here too. So it's like it just doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, yeah, Redman is absolutely right. That this is the best we've seen Francesco Akira look. I
Yeah, he
thought
was
both the
great.
Catch 22 guys looked great. I don't know why TJP is still doing this like vampire mask gimmick, but
Yeah.
we know what TJP can do in that ring when the bell rings, and he showed up, man. Like that's why I'm like, man, all of these guys in this match really contributed to this match. I just think it was a little bit too long. I do think the execution in some of the spots was also a little bit off, but really enjoyed it for the most part. Really enjoyed this show. I thought this was a banger of a show.
Yeah, that's how New Japan, New Beginning shows usually hit like this, and I thought this one hit pretty hard. Had the whole timeline talking, had it executed the way that it needed to go. Like, and then again, but these last Okada matches, like, you guys should have just sent him off at the Tanahashi matches. Like, why are you even like? What is the point of this? Like, I know you guys had some extra dates, but like, why didn't you like do something fun? Like, this is not
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. You could have did some other singles matches if you were gonna not end with the like. Again, I understand the history and the reason why you did the Tanahashi match here, but you could have done some other singles matches for those next two shows other than these multi-man matches.
Or just put the two multi-man matches before, and then do the Tanahashi match as the last match. Like, I don't really.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they were trying to get the Tanahashi match in because of their history at New Beginning, and they were trying to
Yeah.
specifically get it on this show. But yeah, but yeah, man, ending the show with Osprey being tearful. His speech at the end was also very good. Him closing the show with his bow and then doing the crowns with United Empire. Really, really cool visual.
Mhm.
Then later in the day, we got the news that Okada is AEW bound. That, of course, is the report coming from Fightful Select. Yeah, I'm not too surprised by that based on
No.
like Okada's wrestling, based on where I think he would fit best, based on some of the connections he has in the company with the elite. This makes sense. And I've been saying for about 2 years now that Tony Khan wants to bring Omega versus Okada to the United States. And so I think if you're getting the news that this guy's going to be a free agent, the person I knew was going to go after him the hardest was Tony Khan.
Yeah, that's what, like, when I heard that news, I was like, oh, that's not surprising at all. Like, I know Tony Khan was like, Okada's a free agent. Like, I'm gonna talk, like, he's gonna get everything I got. Like, if he ends up in WWE, I understand. But Tony Khan was gonna throw him all the bags in the world because it's Okada, and like you said, they want to have. I know they want to do this match with Kenny Omega, and there's been some talks of them potentially doing some stadium shows
Mm-hmm.
in America that are not the Arthur Ashe, maybe potentially somewhere else. So having a big marquee match like that somewhere else in America for the first time ever is like, yeah, a goal. So like least surprising news at all, Okada with his connections to a bunch of people in there. And it's so funny coming out the Adam Copeland that happened immediately after that news came out was great. But the people, even the coping people, were being silly of saying, "Oh, we've seen that before." You've seen what before?
Yeah, it was a lot of very funny tweets that day that I was looking at. Like, it's okay, guys.
It's okay.
It's okay. You can let it out, man.
It's like, but we've seen. It's because we've seen that before. No, you haven't. He's been in AEW 2 times. Like he's wrestled. He's wrestled Kenny Omega before, and he's wrestled Bryan Danielson and maybe a couple of other people. But there's like a laundry list of people I want to see him against, and things I still want to see him against Omega again, and against Hangman, and against
Yeah.
Swerve, and
You got,
against like this isn't like what are they talking about?
I think a lot of Western fans have to understand for people like you and me that watch more than just WWE and a lot of the U.S. wrestling. Um, there is a big amount of fans that didn't understand the Kenny Omega appeal until he came here and became a television wrestler.
Right.
Um, and I think a part of not understanding that appeal is not witnessing the Okada matches.
Yep.
And so I think the missing piece for some people is bringing Okada over to the States and doing that match here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been excited for that for a long time. Listen, I know certain people will be upset with me, but if that match happens in Chicago, Illinois, you will not be able to tell me anything. Like you won't be able to
Nah.
tell me anything. That's
Absolutely
it.
not. I'm
Like,
putting my bid in. Like I got a couple stadiums y'all could have it at. Do not listen to Philip Lindsey. California would really, really love to have that. Osprey and Okada. No, Kenny Omega and Okada match here in America, in California. Sign me up for that. No, but initially, even when they announced AEW, we all kind of thought like some way we're gonna be able to get that match in
yeah,
America, and we didn't know that Okada would be signing over to AEW to do it. We kind of thought maybe it would be a Forbidden Door type deal, but it's like, yeah, no, that was off rip one of the matches we had of like, well, we could see that here in America. So again, not surprising that he did this, and not surprising that he's going this way. I know some people were excited. They were like, oh, that'd be interesting to see him at WrestleMania and all this, but like, no, dude, sorry.
buddy. I think I told you the story, but I have not said on this podcast. At some point during Royal Rumble, I was sitting there and I was talking to the homie Najee who's sitting next to me. And he asked me where the Okada gonna go if he's once he's a free agent, and we had the conversation about it. And a bunch of people around us joined into this conversation, and it kind of turned into a bait. And I said, I think he's coming to AEW, and
Mhm.
all of these people seemed to disagree with me, and I was just like, I stood. And I was telling them based on this reason, based on that reason, but they all were just like, nah, man, he wants the money. He wants to wrestle
No.
on the biggest stage possible. And I was like, but he doesn't need the money. His wife is a huge celebrity. He's been wrestling for 17 years. He doesn't need the money. Yeah, I get possibly wanting to come here and get the big bag. I also get wanting to wrestle on a big stage like WrestleMania, but we don't know that he wants any of those things. What we do know is that he does have connections with certain people there. We do know that there are other specifics to his career that if you think, all right, him leaving New Japan, he wants to work a lesser schedule. That's part of him. That's, of course, me assuming. I don't know this for fact. But based on other things he says, kind of an educated guess that I think that style of wrestling was starting to become taxing. You think he's going to leave there and go wrestle WWE schedule?
Yeah, no way. Like
Y'all just did that.
he's leaving New Japan because like doing the G1, doing all these big heavy tournaments, it's taxing on your body. Getting your ass beat by Ishii and all these Osprey and all these guys every single night in 45-minute matches is crazy. But then coming over to America and flying for 250 days a year in WWE, like that's also beating up your body. That doesn't sound that appealing to some people. Like it's the biggest stage to solve this, but it's a lot, man. It's also taxing on your body having to travel all these places and work that schedule.
Yeah, so I'm not as surprised that he's going to AEW. Of course, we don't know that for fact yet. That is
We
just a
don't know that.
report.
Yeah,
This could change.
it could be at
But
WrestleMania.
it could change, but I do think that that's where he's going to end up. Very excited about that. There's cool things I would have liked to have seen him do in WWE, but not as excited of seeing him come to AEW. Come on. I was at All In. He was on that card, and so this just feels like the logical next step for him in the U.S.
I just still can't trust them with the male Japanese star in WWE. So I never had faith. I'm like, there's no, it's Okada and he should be, but I couldn't trust them to what they did to Cody. I'm like that. What you think they wouldn't do that to Okada in 5 seconds? Come on, dude.
Yeah, I think and that's why I'm saying there are things that I would like to. I do like the idea of him coming over here and being the first Japanese WWE champion. But did I trust him to do that and execute it well? No, not really.
No, absolutely not. But yeah, all speculation. We don't know. He could not be here, or he could be big business. Also, I don't know. Nobody knows anything. Could be big business Okada.
Yeah. Of course, we'll finish up his time.
The boss Okada.
Yeah, of course he will finish up his time with New Japan at the end of the month. But yeah, exciting free agency news.
Yes.
Excited to see what he does next in his career. Still very, very surreal that this guy will not be wrestling for New Japan. I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around that. Don't make sense.
It doesn't even sound right when you say it out loud. I'm like, what? Okada's not in New Japan? Where is he? What do you mean? But it is going to be super interesting to see him as a weekly American television wrestler. You know what I mean? Like he's going to be in some positions that are going to be great, but the internet's going to be like, this is what y'all wanted him over there doing? He's wrestling blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
inevitably going to happen if he's not champion within the first year. Oh, this is what y'all wanted him to do? Y'all wanted to be wasting his time wrestling this guy? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not looking forward to that, but it's the internet at this point, and I will tune it out. We got some more stuff to hit, but before we hit that, going to hit a word from our sponsors. Then we're going to jump into some Young Buck stuff, I assume.
Yeah.
We've been telling you about the benefits of fitbod.me/PPV for quite a while now, but there's so much more. 150,000 5-star reviews, over 5 million downloads, 400 million workouts logged. A lot of people have tried out Fitbod, and now you can too. You can get 25% off at fitbod.me/PPV. All of your subscriptions give you full access to their premium features. You need to stop guessing and start working. They have daily workouts that generate your workout of the day based on your muscle freshness, preferred muscle group, and things that you want to target. There's equipment selection, so maybe one day you have bands, maybe one day you don't. Maybe you have weights one day, maybe the next you don't. Maybe all you have is the ability to do body weight exercises. They help you out by using the equipment that you have available. There's goal and experience settings. There's muscle recovery. You can connect to your Apple Health, your Fitbit, your Strava, all that good stuff at fitbod.me/PPV. Street counters, timed intervals, circuits and supersets, and you can ask a trainer if the video demonstrations and exercise instructions are not good enough for you. fitbod.me/PPV. That's fitbod.me/PPV.
Boy, your boy was struggling trying to get to this ad read. It's- I could not breathe for a second. I was trying very hard to wait until we got the ad read up, and then I could get up and blow my nose and like get myself together. But it was just not happening. Um,
You should have told me. We could have got into some super chats like we're gonna get into now, and then I could have, took over while you died on the side.
but yeah, of course, fitbod.com.
Thank you for saving Phil's life today, Fitbot.
Yeah.
This is from Comics Beat. It's not anything. It's just super chat. Thank you for that.
Appreciate you.
Chi-Town Spurs says Cody about to be the 90s Jazz, make it all the way back just to lose again.
Nah, man. He didn't go back to back at the Royal Rumble just to lose, man.
Nah. Delayed Grat says, what if Seth turns on him and costs him the championship? I already don't like this. Or Damian Priest cashes in. I don't like that either. Or maybe Rock turns on Roman and helps Cody. It's all very intriguing, but the wrestling is way better on AEW regular TVs and pay-per-views.
Listen, I keep seeing people come up with all these scenarios. No, just give him the win. I don't want to see a swerve. No,
I've seen a bunch of people saying
the
Seth Rollins turn on and thing. I'm like, why are we doing that? I don't like it. And I don't want Damian Priest, like all the times Damian Priest could have cashed in. Do not choose now to cash in. Like this would be the absolute worst time. You had about 20 chances to make this happen. But if you choose Cody's moment to make it happen, you're out of here.
Do not do this. Nobody wants to see this swerve. You do not have to overcomplicate this. Just give him the win. Just enough.
Oh, Comics Beat came back with the super chat saying unasked. Can The Rock still put on a banger match?
We don't know. And that's going to be interesting to see how this pans out going into WrestleMania. I don't know. Based on the way that they're pivoting, I can understand it. Because this guy hasn't wrestled in years. So if we are getting a tag match, I think that this is a better way to see where he's at in ring and to kind of utilize him that way as opposed to going straight into like a one-on-one main event match.
The issue is that I have is it's going to be a tag team match and he's going to be tagged up with the guy that only works 10 times a year. So it's like, how much, you know what I mean? It's like, I think this is going to be shenanigans and elements and stars and lights and all this. Not going to be like a classic. Rock is not here to put on a classic match. He's here for the shenanigans.
No, he's here.
Now, can he? I think the landscape of wrestling has changed and the way things work and the way people train. He's been doing Fast and Furious and shit. I don't know. Maybe things are different. I guess we really just don't know.
Yeah. We're gonna see though.
Yep. We gonna see. James Branch 23 said, a bit off topic, but I've never wanted to see Ricky Starks and BG
Bullet Club, I guess.
Bullet Club Gold until I saw. Oh, there you go. I never wanted to see Ricky Starks and Bullet Club Gold till I saw The Rock throw the gun up. Yeah, The Rock. We're gonna get into how he threw that little thing in there to get everybody in a damn frenzy.
L's up for them headers. L's up for them headers.
Stephen Marcusili says, do you think Rock versus Roman happens in Saudi or WrestleMania 41? I think that they're going to do that match in Saudi, Stephen. I do. I really do.
Please don't.
I think that they're going to do the tag match. I think they might potentially do Rock costing Roman the belt and at Mania, and then they do the Saudi match of Roman and Rock.
That sounds all bad. I do not want to.
God awful, but I don't know.
I could see it happening at WrestleMania 41 before I see it happen at the Saudi show. Maybe at SummerSlam. But yeah, and
I
that
feel like
might
if
be.
you got Rock now. You gotta get anything you can get from him because he might have that one match and be like, all right, that was it.
That's exactly what I'm thinking too. That I feel like you got to get it as soon as you can. But buddy, I do not want to see that at the Saudi show. God.
Bad, but who got the bag? We got the bag, a real big one too. New Rag says Bryan Danielson, Year of the Dragon, Goat, Booker 2. Yeah, I forget that he is helping out a Collision over there, so he might just be like, all right, and then next week I'm gonna wrestle Jun Akiyama, and then next week I'm gonna wrestle Echicero. That would be hilarious if he's just saying that.
Yeah.
Will Chisholm says, your boy Seth cut the great promo. I'm ready for the Avengers theme to play when he was talking.
Yeah, man. Look, man. A lot of people was talking crazy on my guy's name, man. Had to come out here and let y'all know that he could still produce fire every now and then. I still see some people trying to hate on him even when he cut this incredible promo, man. But listen, it's that guy, man.
We'll get into it in full. Amir El Korani says, what 3 matches would you book for Forbidden Door? This is a good one before we move into WWE talk. Or we're going to be in some AEW talks continuing right here, actually. First, I would do. See, it depends on where Forbidden Door is, because this could potentially be the Okada and Omega match if it's in
Yeah.
America and in a big enough place.
We don't know where Omega is in his recovery yet either.
Also,
So that's gonna change. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't because do we think he'd be ready by June? I don't know.
it's tough, especially for a big match like that. Yeah, and it's already February. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, that's coming up faster than a lot of people think. It'll be June before you know it.
Definitely. Well, I'm putting Mercedes in a match with. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's a lot. Who else? Mercedes is in a match. Okada's in a match. I don't know if these are real. These is pure speculation. Don't forget. And then Osprey and see that's where it gets kind of confusing with Osprey and Okada, because do you put them in like New Japan matches at Forbidden Door? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because they're going to be AEW stars by then. Do you put them against New Japan guys, but they just left New Japan? That's weird, isn't it?
I don't know. I think that you have to assume that they're going to be on the card, but if you just put them against New Japan guys, that's a match you could have seen last year.
Right.
I mean, for me, I think mine is I would do Mercedes versus Tam Nakano. I think the story writes itself that Tam had to match at Wrestle Kingdom, the shortened match with Mayu, and then of course Mercedes came out afterwards. And you could kind of have the beef with Tam be that, you know, I had the moment at Wrestle Kingdom and I lost it because everybody was talking about you and not me. And I mean, you could even turn that into a triple threat with Mayu if you want, because Mayu's the current IWGP Women's Champion. But I think it makes the most sense to do the match with Tam and Mercedes at Forbidden Door. I also think that you kind of got to pull the trigger on Bullet Club Gold, Bang Bang Gang against current Bullet Club as well. I feel like a year has passed. That's enough to establish the Bullet Club guys over in Japan. I feel like now is the time. I don't know when Juice is going to be back, but it just makes sense to do like the 8-man match.
Right.
He said 3. 3. I am going to say get Shingo on this card in some way as a singles wrestler.
Yes.
Needs to happen. He's been on other cards. He's been in tag matches, but get this guy wrestling in America in a singles match. So I would say Shingo versus Hangman. The match.
Or Shingo versus Joe.
Shingo versus Joe also sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Either way, just get Shingo on this card.
Yeah. You got to get Shingo on this card, especially after the Moxley match from this year. It's like, oh, he earned his way onto the card, you guys. Like, in a singles match. Like, he's been on the card before, but we need a big Shingo match. Singles Shingo match. Yes Boy says, line of the week during Willow versus Sky Blue. Stokely on commentary said, this match getting me so hot, I'm gonna play some Bone Crusher after this. Stokely is such funny guy. Their angles that they've having with Willow and Chris is really great too. I'm loving everything that they're doing. I'm glad they're getting time. Glad Stokely's being able to do his thing. That's all of
Yeah.
our super chats for now. Appreciate y'all.
Stokely is good to give us at least one-liner every time, and
Right.
it never disappoints. I think we have a handful of Humper chats. Okay, we got from Tyrone Kitty says, "What's up, OG Reg and Phil? Shout out to MVP Micah Parsons, who shown that the Cowboys run and FB and BB. Hope your weekend as well. Fun fact: it's almost 30 years, and WWE had Rocky reunite with the Nation of Domination, with Heyman playing the Owen role. Poor Cody, man. It definitely was some Rock joining the Nation vibes to that segment.
Heyman being Owen Hart is really funny.
It's hilarious. From Van Twin Played, he says, Glory Pro card from tomorrow is on Insta. Pull it up. I don't have my Instagram in front of me. But
he sent two chats. I got you.
From Bizarro Big L, he says, "Hey fellas, an off topic. Saw a video of Tiffany Stratton and her Bama Slammer and Moonslot on Selena was rough. She is coming short and hitting people with her knee to the chest, and it's not the only time. Are they rushing talent, or does Tiff need time?" I just think with moonsaults, it's tough to measure, especially with somebody like Selena. Selena's a little bit shorter. I don't think that's a time thing. I just think that that's just like, it's an accident. I don't think that you can judge her off of that.
Yeah, that's not a Tiffany Stratton issue. We've seen people that do the best moonsaults in the world do that same thing. It's just sometimes that's just how it
Spacing
happens.
is just off. Sometimes it's just an accident.
Right.
Yeah, but I think Tiffany has a bright future, man. I really like Tiffany. I think she's looked good with in the spots that they've given her. I thought she looked good last night.
Yeah.
I thought she did well in the Becky feud. I thought it was time. I thought it was time for her to move up. There was much more for her to do on NXT.
Yeah, I like that match a lot with Selena. I think both of those women were having they were going for it, and I thought that how they train wrestlers over there and how I've seen some of the women strike. I'm like, yo, Tiffany Stratton's kind of throwing them things. Like, the people were coming out of that being like, she's too rough, and I'm like, go for it, I need more.
Lay it in.
Straight up. I'm like, what y'all mad at? She going for it. This is hard. But yeah, I'm excited about her future. She earned her way into the Elimination Chamber. I'm sure she's going to do some kind of spectacular cool spot and, go viral off that shit. So I could see her being one of the champions by the end of the year, honestly.
Me too. I could see her being champion at least either by the end of this year or sometime at the beginning of next year.
Mm-hmm.
From Nelson Muntz, he says, "What do you think will be who do you think will be the two new LFI members? I can see Thunder Rosa and Jack Perry. Rosa to get her aggression back in the ring. Jack Perry showed Roosh in their match that he's worthy of a part of LFI, and like Moxley shows up in New Japan out of the blue. I do think it'll be Thunder Rosa that'll be the woman. I think Jack Perry is a stretch. I think that it'll probably be a Mexican wrestler. Don't think that it'll be Jack.
But Thunder Rosa and LFI I'm liking it. I'm a big fan of that. If that's where they're going, Thunder Rosa, of course, showed up in CMLL last night on camera, which I thought was really dope, and is going to be having a match next week on Collision 2. So, yeah, they have a pretty good pick of wrestlers. I don't know if they'll maybe try to get an American wrestler in there to throw things off. I don't know. Interesting.
I think it'll be the revamped version of Black Taurus, if I had to guess, because he's gonna get the new name. We don't know what they're changing his gimmick and everything to. I think it's gonna be whatever Black Taurus ends up doing.
Philip Lindsey, got it right on the money, and that's hot.
It is wild to think like he's not going to be wrestling as Black Taurus.
That's weird. Yeah,
but I just think with what they do, and if you are going to change his whole look and everything and his name, it makes sense to add him to that group. So that's my guess. That's my
great way to reintroduce him. And yeah, it is going to be weird that he's not going to be Black Taurus anymore, but he's so dynamic and game changing that it's not going to matter. Like, first it's going to be weird, but then he's going to start wrestling. And you're like, oh yeah, I don't care. He's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my guess for that. Another AEW news. The Young Bucks always will find a way to upset people. And this segment this week with Darby got people pretty riled up. I didn't really get why people got so upset about it. I thought it was fine. But I got up the next day, and that's all people were talking about to start the morning. We got the Dave report where Dave was very much miffed about this segment.
Dave was very, very, very upset for some reason. He was mad that Darby didn't mention the beatdown from last week. He didn't mention Sting's sons, and he got to a different point. He thought, like a couple of people I saw online kind of saying it, they thought it was a little too inside baseball, as they say, of like Darby was saying some things, which a lot of people, the whole point of this is like, these are things that people say about the Young Bucks. We've heard them either in kayfabe or like they really feel like this way about the Young Bucks. So it wasn't a surprise that was the angle he took. And then like the story that he tells, there's some elements to it that are true. So it's like, I understand why he took the route that he did. I actually like the promo. Like when I got on and seeing people being like, blah, 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 I was like, yo, no, this promo's kind of dope. Like Darby's, I understand if you don't like the way that Darby does it, but the way that he does it is appealing to me because it doesn't seem like cookie cutter. Like he has a different cadence. He has a different flow to his promos, and like he just approaches them in a different way. And I think it's so Darby Allin that's why I like this promo was a Darby Allin promo. If you think back to when he was in the Four Pillars feud, and he cooked in some of those segments. And I think that this felt like that. So I didn't really understand. I was like, what is Dave so mad about? I like that promo.
Yeah, Dave he didn't understand, like you said, why he didn't bring up the beatdown from the Dynamite before. He also didn't understand why he was bringing up certain things that may or may not have been Cornette speak. And I get the Cornette aspect of it because I get not wanting to give Cornette attention on your television show. But they are not the first heels to do this. MJF did it. Dan Lambert did it. And so I don't think that that's a bad way to get heat. But I understand, like, people that are like, you don't want to feel like you're validating Cornette's complaints about the show.
I think what this is, it's like different than like Lambert or that, like, who is like what seems like Jim Cornette's least favorite tag team ever.
Yeah.
It feels like the Young Bucks. So like it hits harder when it's said to them because he has a history of saying these guys are the worst, you know?
Yeah. But I think also like,
but I do understand.
They've shown from the beginning of this gimmick that, you know, the bit is that they're leaning into all of the criticism of him. And like the biggest Young Bucks critic out there at the moment is Cornette. So I figured at some point they were going to lean into it. Also, you got to look at how we got to this point. You cannot erase how we got to this point. These guys were in the middle of a babyface run. They had just reunited with the other members of the Elite, but they had to pivot because they're getting booed because of the CM Punk stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a coincidence that you're also referencing Cornette stuff in relation after the CM Punk stuff because Cornette has very publicly sided with Punk. You've also had this belief that Punk is a Cornette guy. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think any of that was a coincidence. I think playing into that was very, very intentional. I think the Darby stuff, I thought the Darby promo was very good. I don't know why people were upset with it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was probably one of his best promos to date.
Right.
I thought it made sense for him to be the guy to say those things because, A, he has been a Cody guy. Like, Cody is a big part of his history
that's like
company.
known, right? Like, they've been playing out that story his whole time at this point.
Yeah. He's like, that's been a big part of his history with the company, his storyline with the TNT Championship. That made sense. So I understood him saying, man, the EVP that I liked is gone. Mm-hmm. That made total sense. Also, for him to have this beef with the Bucks, the last person that Punk aligned with other than FTR was Darby Allin. Mm-hmm. And Darby Allin on screen said, this guy is my friend. Also had the match.
Wasn't it? I was gonna say, wasn't his first match in AEW against? Wasn't Punk's first match against Darby Allin?
Yes, he
Mm.
also teamed with Sting, and he did the
Mhm.
makeup in that one episode of the trios match. So
Right.
he's been aligned with Punk for
Mhm.
basically his entire time in being with
Mhm.
AEW. So yes, it would make sense that if they're doing all of this stuff coming out of the Punk stuff, that he would be kind of the guy that's a babyface that speaks on behalf of certain fans or a certain part of the locker room
Mhm.
that is upset with the Bucks.
Mhm.
All of that stuff made sense in character. Now, of course, some of this stuff is probably catered to Fabe as well,
Yeah.
but I didn't mind all of that. Based on everything we know about Darby as a character, all of this stuff fit. Darby is
Mhm.
also an anti-establishment guy.
Yep.
He's walking around with the ultimate anti-establishment guy in Sting.
Mhm.
So
Makes
yeah, of
sense.
course, he would have a problem with two EVPs overusing their power. I thought all
Mhm.
of that stuff made sense. I didn't understand why people were so confused by it. Like, oh, it's too inside baseball. It's too much backstage drama. Yeah, I know that, for some people that's gonna be a slippery slope. Still going back to the Punk stuff and still playing up that stuff. But at this point, we're here, and at least all of the stuff Darby has said and done, it all plays into who he is as a character. Even the California connection stuff. He said that on TV before. He said that
Mhm.
during the Four Pillar stuff. So
Yep.
I didn't mind any of that.
Yeah, no, it all was like I said, stuff that the Young Bucks have heard and things have been said about them in kayfabe and in real life. So it was like, this thing's pretty on the line. I don't really understand what's going on here. That was a really good match though to get into that angle with the Bucks
Yeah.
and Top Flight. I had to remember seeing that same match a year earlier live in Fresno, and I thought that this was coming into this heel Young Bucks thing. I was like nervous that they were gonna just do a bunch of squash matches leading into the Revolution pay-per-view. I was like, man, they're just gonna wrestle a bunch of jobbers and probably beat them up. But no, this match was like everybody got their shit in. Like Top Flight was really going for their stuff. They had the Young Bucks on the ropes. Very interesting that the Young Bucks have thrown 0 super kicks since they've been back. Haven't seen one at all. But yeah, great stories to be told leading into that. I liked all of it.
Yeah, I thought all of it. I thought all of it worked. I do still think that it's a slippery slope playing up some of this stuff and
It is.
blurring the line between what's real and fake with the EVP stuff because some people really, really don't like the Bucks. Now, you're going to
Yes.
get the heat from those people, but you're also going to confirm for some of those people that these things are true and not a part of the television show.
True.
And so it is a slippery slope. I can also understand people that since Punk is gone and he's over there and not talking about them anymore, all right, well, why are you still mentioning anything related to him anymore? Just move on. I totally understand that. I totally
Feels fair.
understand. I totally understand as well that you've got Joe being a no nonsense guy on television, and he's making a point as champion to move past backstage drama or inside baseball stuff. He just wants to make it about the wrestling. I do understand having that happening on TV, and then the Bucks are still doing the same thing that they've been doing for years. I can see where that's a disconnect for people. But nothing they've done so far, I've just been like, nah, that just didn't hit for me. The other
Right.
thing that I've noticed as well, them mentioning the Cali Boys thing, think that was a very intentional nod to one Jack Perry. And that's another reason why I do not think Jack Perry will be joining LFI because I think that these guys are going to use their power to bring Jack Perry back to AEW
Use their
eventually.
power to bring them back. Good angle. I was like, because we haven't really gotten to his New Japan shit yet. So where's that going to lead? But if they use his power to come back, and then the Darby thing, the connections, like a lot of connections here. They tied some loose ends, and I thought it was a really good story going into because it couldn't all just be about Sting. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
it should be like a lot of it is about Sting, but a little part of it playing into the Darby thing, I think just enhances the match. And them announcing that the match is happening and it's going to be a tornado tag match. It's like, yeah, you got Sting has to go out with the tornado tag, man. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I like the way they're building to the match at the pay-per-view. I am starting to think more and more that Sting and Darby are going to win, and Sting is going to retire as champion.
Yeah.
But either way they do it, I would be fine with it. Personally, like I said, I like the angle they're building here. I can understand why some people that don't like the Bucks might be annoyed with this, but it's fine. They've been doing this for the longest. They've been trolling people for a big part of their careers, a big part of their appeal as characters at this point. And either you're gonna like it or you're not.
Now anybody getting mad at the Young Bucks, that's just fuel. That's playing into the character. Like if you're like, I hate this. This is dumb, and like, yeah, you're supposed to. I think
You're
that's-
supposed to hate it. Like
they're heels. We're about to talk about a heel somebody that recently turned heel that just lied and lied and lied. That's what the heels do.
The funny thing I also think about this as well. I don't know if people picked this up, but for about a year, this was a big part of Seth Rollins' character. He played up the idea that people online did not like him because they felt like he was a company stooge. And then there was, of course, that report that came out that he did that locker room leader thing, and which turned into a back and forth with Dave. And he brought that to television, and that was the start of the Messiah character. That was the start of the character that he's currently doing on television. So I don't understand why people don't see that this is a work. It's a work.
They can't. They don't want it to be. They're like, here goes some bullshit again. It's like now everything's gonna be a mystery because like, is this real? Is this like, no, dude? Sometimes it really is just wrestling
I
on
mean,
TV.
even if you look at it this way, man, right now, The Rock playing up the real world stuff with him as a member of the board of directors. It's the same thing the Bucks are doing. It's a work.
Ain't it? Ain't it though? That's what was funny because I saw some people being like, "Oh, this thing's too inside baseball. This angle's like that," but they were celebrating the kickoff show. I was like, "But didn't we have isn't this all inside baseball? Like that was all. The whole thing is based off internet talking shit too. Like, I'm confused.
And it's not even really inside baseball. It's stuff that is on the. It's
Stuff that people know.
It's stuff that's public knowledge. It's stuff that's now. I'll give you certain things that are like stuff inside the wrestling bubble. But it's I just still think it's very clearly a work. I don't know.
Yeah. Kind of annoying, but super cool though. I thought, like I said, I think it's all really good, and yeah, I think I'm along with you. I think they're gonna retire Sting as the AEW Tag Team Champions and maybe reintroduce new ones. We have a new tag team tournament. Like I think there's ways to do this, and that's kind of a cool way to send Sting off, add some prestige to those belts, and just have a really cool moment to end that show. Because I don't know if you want to like end Sting's retirement with him all bloody in the ring, beat up. But I mean, he also might want to. I don't know. Nobody knows.
Maybe, but I was fine with it. I thought it worked. I think out of the stuff from this week's Dynamite, that was the thing people talked about the most the next day. So, job done, I guess. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I know. Watching that show and them announcing that the Texas Death Match was going to be the main event, I was like, Orange Cassidy and Matt Taven in the main event over some of the other things that were in the show. I was like, I don't really know if that's gonna be the move. But then Orange Cassidy and Matt Taven went and had a fucking banger, and they fucking tore it down. And Matt Taven showed y'all niggas who Matt Taven is. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot we all had Matt Taven fucked up.
It's Orange Cassidy, bro. Like, I mean, yes.
And Orange Cassidy is just, you know.
It's Orange Cassidy, man. Yeah, you cannot underestimate this man. Every time people see his matches up there, and they're like, oh, why are they putting this as the main event? Why is this getting this focus? It's going to stink. Like, Orange Cassidy does not disappoint, man.
Never. Zero. He could be in any position. I didn't think it was going to stink or anything. Like, I know that both of these guys are incredible, but it's like, oh, that's interesting. But then every time, like, yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, forget Orange Cassidy's incredible. And the first match, the middle match, or the last match, he's going to fucking give it 100%. What an amazing display from him. And I see people online, people are still running with this narrative. Oh, John Moxley, and now they're saying Orange Cassidy needs to take vacations. Like, after what why would you want them to take vacations? They're still putting out amazing stuff. But I mean, if you feel like it's been a little too much and maybe they need to take the gas off it, I could understand. I wouldn't, but I could understand.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I was very surprised that people got this upset about it. Then we got the report later that day where Dave got into, I guess, like some frustrations backstage. The timing of it was very interesting because
Timing was super interesting.
it came right after he said those things about the Bucks segment, and he also said some things like some of the backstage chatter where people have been frustrated is in relationship to the crowds because the crowds are getting smaller and smaller, and you have Tony Khan at the same time saying everything is fine, everything we're growing as a company, we're doing big gates, but then you're going out there and performing in front of less crowds, and that's understandable. But the thing that I thought was strange about it was, like I said, the timing of this coming out, and I'm just like, yeah, you're trying to push this idea that people are back there frustrated to kind of serve your point that you were making about the Bucks segment. But
Right, exactly. It wasn't like he didn't put that story out because it was like this pressing thing. He put it out because it felt like he put it out to prove his point, and it was like, I don't really know.
Yeah, it felt very I don't know. It felt very much like him stirring the pot a little bit.
Right.
But I
Like
don't.
it didn't even seem in correlation. Like, see, they're talking about this when this is going on. It's like, what that got to
Yeah.
do with this though?
Yeah, and so you look. I don't know that. I don't know if that's true or false at all. But I don't know, man. Just get to the graps, bro. Like I just.
I know I don't ever hear any wrestlers complaining about the attendance, but that's
but see, that could be true, and it's an understandable grievance.
Yeah.
But my thing is, why do we need to know that?
We don't need to know. That's probably why I don't know, because I don't want to know. Also, like, what? I don't want to hear about that.
Personally, I don't want to know. I just don't. I don't want to know. I just think that some things we don't need to know as the public.
Being like Darby should have talked about the Sting's sons beat down to wrestlers are frustrated. It's like a crazy transition though. Like, how did that?
Yeah, and look, that might not have been what he was trying to do, but the timing of it was very, very odd. I just think everything around it was odd, but I don't know.
And it's just always interesting with stuff like this, is because like the consensus is that Dave is a Young Bucks guy. Like the whole thing is like, oh, here he goes giving these guys 5-star. Here he goes, blah blah blah. But like now it's not like that, so it's just funny.
Yeah, I just thought his response to that segment was very interesting. I thought like all of the talking points around it were very odd to me, and just even that report coming right afterwards, I was just like, okay. And then he had to see
with Dave.
Then he had the CMLL stuff that was coming after that, which was in relation to the Conan stuff and people. It was just
and then the Rock and Triple H thing that he said that happened. That I'm like, yo, Dave is having a rough week.
it was a odd week for Dave. Yeah, I just was like, and I mean, I like
stare down with a 10-year-old video. I'm like, Dave, what's going on here? They don't look like that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, look, I do think that sometimes I very much agree with Dave's opinions, and
definitely
sometimes his reports are on the money, but every now and then I'm just like, what is this? I don't understand what we're doing.
Sometimes like he's putting out this report because somebody's trying to cover their ass, and it's not him. So like if he says something like, oh, this person blah blah blah, and then a day later, actually I heard that blah blah blah, it looks crazy. You know what I mean? Like it looks like, oh, that person probably got back to you. Or a CMLL story drops, and then you say, oh, actually the AAA wrestlers can't be in the same shows that the CML wrestlers go, and then that looks like something. If the retractions you come out are saying, oh, actually, and it's blah 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 blah. I'm like, well, why do you have so much about this AAA side of things? I wonder.
Where'd this information come from?
Where'd you get it from?
Just curious.
Who told you about this? And do you listen to his podcast?
Yeah, does he have a podcast? Yeah,
but that's the game, though. I see. It's a thing. Another same thing with Dave was like, oh, if he gets 3 stories wrong, that doesn't mean that everything he's ever done is null and void. He's not credible anymore. Like, no. And that wrong is probably even the wrong thing to say. Like, if you think it's some different information or something, blah, 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 like, that doesn't take away everything he's ever done or what he's going to continue to do.
Yeah, exactly. Because this was kind of my thing when the Punk stuff was happening, and we were getting Dave reports all the time about all this stuff, and I was just like, I just don't think that some of this stuff needs to be out there. There's some of this stuff that I just don't, and I just think some of the reporting on it just didn't really help the situation. So, but who am I? I'm just some guy with a podcast.
We just got a pod. That's it. Let's get into a couple super chats before we talk about The Rock. Bad Little Bit says, why do marks complain about everything? LMAO. Entitlement. They've conditioned us to do this.
Bad Little Bit is hilarious.
Bad Little Bit. Shout out to Bad Little Bit. But yeah, it's a bunch of things. It's like social media has told us all that we have a voice and everybody got a podcast. It's like, it's a bunch of stuff.
It's a lot, man.
Ooh, every time I see some podcast clip going viral, I'm like, man, if somebody like, I sometimes when woman's like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't even want to say it to her because I know the stigma that's around niggas with podcasts, and so I have to like walk a very fine line because it's nasty out there, Phil. Some of these clips, I'm like, yo, what are y'all talking about? What is this?
Yeah, keep some of these takes, bro. It's all right.
Keep them, dude. We don't want to hear this. These men, sometimes I'm like, dude, lock them up, all of them.
Lock them up.
Like, what are y'all like? Y'all are functioning in society. I'm scared. Yeah. Arduit says, happy Grapsody Day. I'm a ways back in the vid, but on Dave M, no shade on him. His career is huge, but we got to stop defying the dude and his opinions.
I think he means deifying.
Deifying. Sorry. I don't know that word. I'm not
That's
up
like,
on
as in
words.
making him bigger than what he is.
It's a great word, Arduit. I just want to say that. Deifying. I'm gonna add that to my arsenal of words. But yeah, see, again, it's on the fence because I think he still has a voice and he still should be validated. Like, I don't think it should be. When people are like, we shouldn't listen to that motherfucker, I don't think that's not how I feel. Like, I think we should still listen to. It's Dave. Like, I look forward to his match ratings. I look forward to his obituaries that he has on wrestlers who passed away. I look forward on his historian knowledge of the wrestling business. Sometimes he gets caught up in bullshit, but like, again, that's the game.
Exactly. That's the game. And that's why I never turn it into, oh, this guy sucks. Like, no. I get what some of this stuff is. I just don't agree with it. And I mean, there's plenty of other things that he does that I do think.
Yeah, sometimes there's some stuff I'm like, oh, he's an old man. I'm not defending that shit. You know?
Yeah, some of his opinions I'm not going to agree with. And that's just anybody in this space. You're not going to agree with everybody. But
I'm sure there's hella people that don't agree with us. We know for a fact there's hella people that don't agree with us. Not I'm sure that I'm positive that people don't agree with us because they tell us they don't agree with us very often.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not gonna always agree with his opinions or viewpoints, but his reporting sometimes is accurate, and I do think that his place in this space as a historian is very much needed. And I just don't like when people start turning it into well, Dave just sucks and there's no place for him in this business anymore.
Dave's sources are exactly who the person he's talking about. So you know what I mean? Like, he has a different level of availability than other people. Like, if he tells a story about somebody in WWE, like a rep from WWE is going to call him, or the person that he's talking about. Same thing in AEW. If he tells a story about blah, he's going to talk to somebody from there. It's not like he's just pulling these out of his ass, or he has somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. He knows the person, you know?
He got it from somewhere. A lot of stuff he reports, even if it's inaccurate, he got it from somewhere.
Exactly. From a place that didn't feel like it would be inaccurate. So if it is inaccurate, he's like, well, damn, I got it from the motherfucker.
Or, I don't know. I don't want to get into, completely bashing his reporting because
I can't.
I'm not in on that. Like,
I can't
but
do that.
there are some things that again I just
like
don't
Dave.
agree with. So
I like him. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you want from me? Like I said, and I always say that we wouldn't be in this space if it wasn't for Dave. He created all
Absolutely.
this. He created the wrestling media, wrestling opinions. He created all this shit. Like, I can't. Corey David says Obafemi, Trick Williams, Braun, Mello, Dragon next up. Yeah, last night on SmackDown they announced that the homeboy Bond Breaker is now a full-time SmackDown roster member.
Boy, Brian Kerr is out here doing his thing. Signed a contract. Was
Yep.
Jade in the room? Jade was looking at that contract like, I don't know.
I don't know about all this, big dog. Jade looked great though. Just seeing her in the same space as Bianca, it just feels so good, man. I'm like, there's about to be $1 million money match coming up. Why are you squinting your eyes? What's going on there?
Because you caught me in the act. I'm interested, Mr. HD Sports. When have you seen us bash podcasters on our podcast? Like I tried very hard not to talk about most content creators, and that's specifically why
Show me the clip.
I did not want to bash Meltzer here because I try to be very careful about who I talk to here. I don't know what you're talking about.
Show me
here.
the clip. Which podcasters are we bashing? I probably bashed JD from New York before because he fucking sucks.
I'm confused by that statement, but whatever. I don't know. The point I'm making is moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on.
You making stuff up. Corey David says, you think WWE would allow AEW to use WCW Sting footage for his retirement? No. They're not giving nobody nothing. And then Bragov gifted Fightful membership. Shout out to Bragov. That's awesome.
Appreciate you, Bragov. Don't think we have any more Humper chats, but I will double check.
Just to get into Flow Rider from last night. I mean, The Rock.
Just to wrap that in a bow is that essentially what I'm saying when I say I don't want to bash Dave is that I try very hard not to talk about most content creators in this space because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be a content creator in this space. I know what it's like to either have an article or have a podcast and put it out there, and you have all these random people on Twitter or wherever else just throwing shit at you, and it doesn't feel good to have that come from somebody else in this space that people respect and listen to their content. So I don't want to be a guy that ever kind of tries to weaponize our audience to go against other people. I just don't think that's something necessary to do. So you won't catch me doing that on this podcast. Now,
and also your little message is egregious. First of all, because Dave is not some fucking random podcaster. It's not the same. It's not the same at all. It's like comparing a fucking person that does this to fools that are doing this. Isn't like we're not even the same as Dave Meltzer.
No,
we're talking about it.
We're not.
We're not podcasters, and that's fucking Dave Meltzer, dude. What are you talking about?
We're not in the vein of Dave. I just think that I just would not do that to other people in the space. Now, are there people in this space that I don't like or I don't agree with the content they make? Absolutely. But I try very hard.
But we don't spend our time on our podcast talking.
Spend time on this podcast talking about those people. Like that's just not something I think you guys are interested in listening to. That's just not something I'm interested in doing. We got one Humper chat here. Again, if you want to send us your Humper chats, humperchat.com/fightful. We got one from Baba, Brian Danielson versus Yoshihiko at Forbidden Door. Oh, yes.
I'm a Baba. What was Drake's line?
You talking about the I'm not with the rah-rah, I'm a da-da.
I'm not with the rah-rah, I'm a Baba. Drake got it. Sometimes I'm like, we talked about it on this pod before.
I'm a da-da.
He's number one. He's the guy. He is the standard. Like in the past, that none of the number ones would be able to get away what he's been able to get away with. And it's like, it's just interesting. Like, I'm happy that we've gotten to this place because hip hop was terrible for a while. And he's done some things where I'm like, what, dude? But like, it's just interesting that we've gotten to a place where he could do and say any of the wildest bars in the world, and people are just like, yeah, that's Drake. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Lucky son of a bitch.
We got one last big topic to hit.
What happened?
Before we hit that, I'm getting another word from our sponsors. Then we're gonna get into the most electrifying man in sports entertainment.
BetOnline.ag is the official betting partner of Fightful. 100% of the time when you get the odds from Fightful, they are coming from BetOnline.ag. And it's not just wrestling, it's not just MMA and boxing. It's football, it's basketball, baseball, hockey. They have the earliest lines. You can bet big with the high limits and rebet functionality. They have the fastest payouts with winnings paid in minutes and the industry's best bonuses on every qualifying deposit. They've been trusted for 25 plus years. It's not some fly-by-night company. BetOnline AG has been there. They've done that. In addition, they're trusted by millions. They've got VIP rewards programs and a ton of popular games. BetOnline.ag, that's where I go to make my bets. That's where I suggest you go to, my friends. Please just bet what you can and bet responsibly.
BetOnline.com. That is where you can find all of your betting needs.
Facts. Go over there, get your guys' bets, but bet responsibly. Before we move on to the Rock, I forgot our homie Van Twinblades. Two chats to let us know about Glory Pro, which is taking place tomorrow. It's actually their 7th anniversary show for Glory Pro. And I watched Glory Pro Ascend earlier this week, Van Twinblade, and it's a really fun show. It's free on YouTube if you guys haven't seen it. But they're going to have in the main event for the Glory Pro Championship, it's going to be Warhorse himself, Jake Parnell, taking on Alex Zane. They got Moses and Ethan Price defending the Glory Pro Tag Championships against Philly and Marino Experience. You got Alley Catch, homie from Bussy, taking on Maggie Lee. You got Steph DeLander taking on Tootie Lynn. That's going to be Big Bangs. You also got Stallion Rogers taking on Camaro Jackson and many, many more. Glory Pro Wrestling, their 7th anniversary. Van Twinblade has been on almost every single Grapsody telling you guys to watch it. So please watch it. Please go check it out. Appreciate you, Van Twinblade, for your support, my friend.
Yeah. Everybody calm down. I see our chat is still going crazy. Everybody calm down.
I'm not.
Everybody calm down, man. It's all good, man. Like, doesn't need to be a thing, man. Like, I did not think that me saying that I didn't want to bash somebody would turn into people debating, but go figure. Me trying to say I don't want to go in on somebody is
why.
I don't know.
So yeah, SmackDown. I watched SmackDown last night. The Rock is back. The Rock is here.
Yeah, so I suppose, like, I was wondering, was this a pivot? If we came on here last week and we talked about the kickoff show and just everything moving forward, and it seemed like they were moving on with the tag match, but it seems like the tag match is happening based on the WrestleMania trailer that they put out on the day of the Super Bowl. They had which I ain't even gonna front. I thought it was dope. Like just the production of it, having Cody and Rollins walk in and they did a stare down with Rock and Roman. They had like the flash of both guys with their belts. I thought it was dope, and so I was like, sure, seems like this tag match is happening. If you were still in the camp that it seems like it might be a one-on-one match with Rock in some way, I think the stuff this week like kind of effectively puts that to bed. We got the stuff on Raw first, and they clearly made the point that it wasn't just that Rollins stood up for Cody in the kickoff show. It made the point that Rollins is aligning himself with Cody. I thought that was a very clear sign that they were doing a tag team match. And I thought the segment was very, very good. Because it would have been really easy for them to just leave the kickoff stuff where it is and just go, all right, well, he just stood up for him in that moment. To go further and tell the story that this has been like his most heated rivalry for the last year, like going even into this year, that you thought eventually Cody would be like a challenger for the World Heavyweight Championship, or he's going to be a guy that is going to be still a thorn in his side. For him to be like, nope, I have to back you. In order to overthrow this guy who has too much power, I have to side with you. I thought that was a good story to tell, and I thought that was a really good place to go with Rollins' character, considering where he's been with that character for the last 4 years. And I thought the Rollins promo was fire.
Fire, that's probably... Listen.
Here we go, man.
Your boy been on bended knees for a few weeks now,
Here we go.
and I want him to stand up off that bended knee.
He did. Listen, man. Dare I say that my guy stood on business, because he said, listen, I stood in that press conference the entire time, and I watched those guys sit and act like you winning the Royal Rumble doesn't matter, that their power offsets you winning the Royal Rumble, and I could not let that stand. And I was like, as the guy that has been the champion for the people for over 200 days, that was the guy to say that. He was the guy to stand up for Cody. And again, I think it makes sense with what his character has been. His character has been all this time that I am the leader this company needs. I am the person that's going to lead this company into the future. And in order to get there, you guys need to follow me. And for him to say, all right, you guys are following me.
Seth Rollins.
All right, but that has nothing to do with this segment, though. In
Seth
this segment,
Rollins, all he's talking about is please, please, please talk about me. Please, 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 please somebody mention me. Please somebody have a match with me. Please say my name. Please, please, please. I have this championship. Does anybody want this championship? And everybody's like, no, leave us alone. And he's like, please, please, please. But what about The Rock? But what about this? Dude.
What does that have to do with this segment, though?
This segment doesn't matter in the lexicon of anything.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
On SmackDown, they didn't even mention Seth Rollins. He's not a part of this. He doesn't matter. He's insignificant. Roman said, you're number 2. Go stand over there with that loser, and he will never recover from it. You could keep talking to Cody all you want, but you look like a second-rate loser, Seth Rollins.
Nah.
Yes.
I don't see how you going, oh, well, he said he's a loser. How did that discount the character moment that he had on Monday? It doesn't.
Because that moment doesn't matter to me because he has no credibility at this point. He doesn't have any credibility.
He's the champion. What do you mean he don't have credibility?
He can't even defend it. Like I said, credibility. When he got injured and said, I'm going to still be here but not defend the belt, you're acting just like Roman. Why would I care about this?
Why are we still doing this?
Why would I care about this? Because that's what it is.
Why are we still doing this?
We made a new belt to not have this bullshit going on where nobody's defending the world championship, and he's doing the same thing. Bro can't even walk. He's not
doing the same thing at all.
He can't defend his belt. Same shit. He's just like Roman Reigns. They're the same thing.
He is nothing like Roman in character. It makes no sense to say that. This guy is hurt, and he's still been on TV every week. That other guy ain't hurt at all and won't show up. That doesn't make sense. No. We're killing this. He's like Roman debate for good today. This is a stupid fucking talking point. It is. He's nothing like Roman. Roman's whole point is, I don't need to wrestle because I have power. This guy is saying, I can't wrestle because I'm injured. It is not the same thing at all. And then on top of that, this guy has been hurt and he has been there. This guy has given people opportunity after opportunity, bro. Like, man. He's nothing like bro.
Opportunity. If you're representing for the fucking
for
brand,
the past 3 weeks,
you want this belt to be something, and you are holding it hostage because you can't.
How is he holding it hostage? He's hurt.
If you can't defend it, give the belt up. That's how wrestling is supposed to work. If you can't work for 30 days. Give somebody else the fucking belt. We made this belt so we would see the world title on TV. If Roman can't defend it, and they're not gonna if Roman's not gonna defend it, we know that he's not gonna defend it. Put it on somebody who's gonna fucking defend it then. And if Seth can't defend it, put it on somebody who can.
Bro,
what's the point of having 2 world champions who can't fucking work?
Bro.
Oh, they're not. We know that they're not gonna make Roman work. So put the belt on somebody who is gonna work.
But that doesn't make him like Roman. When you say he's exactly like Roman, in character, nothing he does is like Roman. That's a stupid talking point.
It feels like it to me because he's supposed to be representing the brand. But if you were representing the brand, you would give the belt to somebody who's fucking deserves it. He's just like Roman because Roman's being selfish. In this point, he's being selfish because he's holding the belt hostage.
But this is why I
Two selfish guys.
But this is why I tried to cut you off before you even started this debate over again, because the entire point of this segment from Monday was him being selfless. His entire point was, hey, man, I'm not the guy to beat Roman. You are. I am backing you because you are the guy to beat him. Go finish your story. I am going to be your shield because I'm not the guy to beat him. This is your moment. That is outright him being selfless. How in any way is that him being selfish?
Because he still has the belt. He still has the belt. You're the world champion and you can't defend the belt. You're the world champion and you can't defend the belt.
I got nothing else.
The belt that they made because you're the workhorse. If you're a workhorse, give the fucking belt up then. You can't work, horse.
I just full stop this idea. He's just like me.
What's the difference? I don't understand the difference. I think your sound went out too.
I don't know. Hold on.
Okay, you're back. Nope. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I just full stop think that point is stupid. It is. Because you can't say that he's like Roman when everything he does is specifically the opposite of Roman. It is. Him being the guy that works more dates than him being the guy that provides opportunity and lets contenders earn a spot to wrestle him is nothing like Roman. His entire beef with Roman is I am owed a rematch that you won't give me, and I've given everybody a match. That's not the same at all. Just because the guy is hurt and he can't wrestle, that don't mean he's the same.
That makes it null and void to me. If you can't defend your belt and you're still trying to talk like you're somebody, you're nobody. You can't even fucking defend your belt. What are these talking points? Why are you here if you can't wrestle? The whole point of me, again, I don't give a fuck about stories. I don't give a fuck about nothing. At the end of the day, I want to see y'all wrestle. And if you can't get in the fucking ring and wrestle, why am I listening to you? Just like with Adam Cole, I don't give a fuck about the United Undisputed Kingdom because he can't even walk, dude. What are you talking all this shit for? You can't wrestle. Get in the ring and defend your belt then.
What does that have to do with the Rollins
It has
stuff?
to do with a lot because I can't take you as a credible champion if you're trying to act like something, but you can't even do it.
I don't know, man. This completely threw me off my square about talking about the tag match because you're now going into this he's Roman debate, and I just don't think that debate makes any sense.
It doesn't, but I'm saying I was just saying that because like this Rollins, I'm just saying the Rollins promo doesn't hit because he doesn't have any credibility for me right now. So like the Cody Rhodes shit doesn't mean anything because he's a fucking side character in the story.
But what does that have to do with him saying that I am siding with you because these guys are overusing their power? I, as a guy that speaks on behalf of the people as this champion, I am siding with you. What does him not wrestling have to do with that character moment at all?
Because again, no credibility because he's doing this shit.
Because he's been hurt for 3 weeks?
And he doesn't feel relevant here. Even if he wasn't hurt, he would still be a side character in this show. If he wasn't hurt, he'd still be a side character. He's nothing but a side character.
This is very rare on this podcast, but I just completely and utterly disagree with you. Just like in every single way.
I mean, I don't imagine, yeah.
And it isn't just that I'm a Rollins guy. I just think that you missed what his moment was in this promo. You just
what I'm saying, I didn't miss it because it was never gonna hit. He could have said anything ever, but he has no credibility for me right now because they did this to me. First of all, when he didn't defend his fucking belt, but then at that kickoff show,
the dude has been defending his belt for over 200 days. Like, I just don't understand the hang up of I'm injured, so I can't defend my belt. So, all right, that means nothing you did for the rest of this reign matters. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Because that was the point of the belt. What's the point of the belt? What's the point of the belt?
I don't know, man.
What's the point of the belt? So why do I care what you're saying to Cody Rhodes then? You're not a part of this,
man.
You're not a part of this.
I think most of what you're saying does not make sense, to be honest, bro. I don't think it makes sense.
What doesn't make sense that I don't care about his promo because he has no credibility for me?
No, I think you're trying to compare him.
It feels the same for me. None of these fools
No,
are
no, no.
defending their
Let me
belt,
finish.
Phil.
Let me finish. I think you trying to compare him to Roman just flat out doesn't make sense.
Neither one of them are defending their belts. That's my point.
But when you say that it's the same, it's not the same. He cannot defend the belt because he is hurt.
But it's exactly the same because we know Roman's not going to defend his
but
belt.
It isn't the same. It's the point I'm making to you. It is not the same.
If they're not gonna make Roman defend the belt, and we know that's a guarantee, why are you gonna have another guy that can't do it? Is what I'm saying.
So my counterpoint to that then would be, if fair is fair, and you're saying that Roman should defend his belt, and he is cleared, why are you then trying to force me to give up my belt because I'm hurt? Because you will not make this guy defend his belt.
My point is always going to be get the belt off a hurt person. I don't care about what Roman has. Why does Seth still have the fucking belt?
Okay, but he's not going to vacate the belt. So we then have to move on from that, right? Because he's not going to vacate the belt.
Exactly.
We've already established that point that he's not going to vacate the point.
Exactly.
So my hold on, let me finish.
Hold
on, let me finish. But if we've already established that he's not going to vacate the belt, what does that have to do with the segment that we're now talking about? Because we've already established he's going to be champion going into WrestleMania.
I again told you, credibility. I don't give a shit. At the kickoff show, they made him into a young boy. Why do I care what you're saying if you didn't even speak up when it was time to fucking speak up? Why are you speaking up now when everybody's
But
gone?
he did.
Again, no credibility. Credibility.
What he did.
Off the mic, he didn't say it into the mic. He waited till everybody started going into carnage to say something.
The promo he cut wasn't a clarification on why he stood up for Cody in the moment. He specifically stood up for that guy in the moment. What do you mean he did nothing? He stood there the entire time.
He didn't say, hey, I'm Cody's friend on the mic. Off the mic, we're supposed to be like, oh, yeah.
No,
and after he had already felt like a young boy, a little fool on the side, little bro.
The whole point of this segment, in my opinion, and I don't think that I'm off here, is that in that kickoff show, he sat there and watched those guys argue the entire time. Mm-hmm. And his takeaway from this, as somebody that has watched Roman abuse his power for 3 years, is now you're even more powerful because you're aligned with a guy that's on the board of directors. You're out of control. I'm not going to let you take Cody's moment away from him because he earned it. You can't just say he can't have a title shot because you two have decided you want the match. No. He's wrong. And so that's why he stood up for Cody in that moment. And that was his point in the promo on Monday. I stood up for you because those guys are out of control. And it's my fault that he's out of control because I started this by betraying him. The entire reason this guy started the Bloodline is because he was unstable before with a guy that turned his back on him and betrayed him. And his thought was, hey, if I go and get a bunch of family members and demand unquestioned loyalty, this won't happen to me again. So Seth's whole point is, this is kind of my fault that this has got this far. Again, this is him as a character growing from the place of saying, I should lead. I am the only person that you should listen to him taking accountability and saying, this is partially my fault, bro. I'm with you now. I'm siding with you, and we're going to take them down together. That was the point of this promo. Again, I don't see how you missed all of the character beats in there and you're dismissing it by saying, oh, well, he's hurt. Oh, he's like Roman. Oh, he has no credibility. That does not dismiss the character stuff that they did here. Again, I don't like the execution. The pivot has been clunky, but I thought that this was a great moment. I thought this was a great way to build reasoning for why they are a team and why he would pick Cody's side.
I think Cody came out of it looking good, and I don't think Seth did.
Boy, we're just gonna disagree on that then, because I think that I don't know how much further I can explain his motives or what he did here. I
told you I don't care about his motives.
But that's why I'm saying
I don't care. I heard the promo. I listened to it. I know what he's saying. I don't care. That's it. He doesn't have it for me. I don't care.
I don't know, man.
I don't care.
Then what are we doing then? What are we talking about? Because I mean, if you just don't care about the guy, that's one thing. But if we're gonna discuss the segment, then we got to discuss the segment on its merit.
I discuss it on his merit. It's not about him. It's about what happened last night. Then last night, The Rock.
But I'm saying, besides what you feel about the Seth Rollins character or how they've booked him, I'm talking about the segment on its merits. what does the segments on its merits do for the tag team match that they're trying to book moving forward? And
yeah, that's fine. I'm saying it coming out of it. Cody looks great. I want him to win. I think he's good, but it doesn't. I don't have any interest in Seth. That's where I land with it.
Okay,
that's it.
Okay. I don't know. I thought that this segment was good because I thought that it gave clarity to Seth's motives. I thought this was the best that Seth has looked since they started the Punk stuff. I think it's unfortunate that Punk got injured and they had to pivot. I think it's even more unfortunate that they decided to fucking make this convoluted mess with The Rock. But I think in the time since then, they pivoted well. I think the kickoff stuff opened good storytelling possibilities with this. And I thought they did a really good job on Raw of setting up the reasons why these two guys would be on the same side. Especially given the fact that they were rivals a year ago. This guy waited until after their third match when he had a torn pec to attack him. And a year later, he's saying, no, man, you're right. I'm with you. Finish the story.
Mm.
That's growth, is it not?
It is. That's it.
I don't know. Did not expect me just bringing up that Seth promo to then turn into this long back and forth. But I brought that up to make the point that I think that both segments on Raw and SmackDown were to set up both tag teams. And I think the story they're telling on Raw is that these are two guys that you don't think would get along based on their history from last year. But we're setting up reasons for them to get along. And I think that did the opposite on SmackDown with the Rock segment. The Rock segment was very, very interesting for a number of reasons. I think just the way that Roman came out, very self-assured of, all right, man, well, it's over for y'all now. We got all the power now. Bloodline's more powerful than ever. And by the end of that segment, I was sitting there like, is it though?
Is it? Yeah, that's how I felt too.
Because Rock kind of bogarted the spotlight throughout this entire thing. And I think that was kind of the intention of this segment, to set up coming out of the kickoff show where it's just like, oh man, who's going to beat these two guys? They have more power than anybody else. They're two big, massive guys. They're the biggest stars in the history of the company. Who's going to beat these guys? And then when you look at it, it's like, oh wait, can these two guys coexist?
Yeah.
Like,
you know, initially I didn't see the people doing the detective work of when The Rock was like, and you're gonna lose how he was doing the point at Roman. Initially, I didn't notice that. I did notice I was like, Rock is really making this all about him. It feels like it didn't. They're like, The Rock is joining the Bloodline, but it felt like The Rock was like, The Rock is here. It's all about The Rock, kind of like how he's always been. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought this was a very well done segment, though. I think I did not know what to expect because we've seen the Roman segment of the week so many times.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we've seen him kind of come out and do a speech, and to varying degrees of interest on my behalf. But
and that Jinder Mahal promo, I hated that. So I was nervous because coming into this week, everybody was like, Hollywood Rock, he needs to do this, he needs to do so. I was like, I don't really know what he's going to come to do. But when he walked out with the sleeveless Versace shirt, I was like, I think we might be in for a ride here. I think some things could happen.
Look, when there were parts of me going into this like, all right, let's see where this goes. Let's see where the Rock and Roman stuff goes. Buddy, when he walked out there with that cut off Versace shirt, I was like, "Oh, we're back.
We're back.
This is the Rock that I wanted to come back." And I think the difference between Rock in this segment and any other time we've seen him come back is it felt like the Rock coming back as a visitor all of those times. He's coming down, dressed down. He would come down and kind of give like a
usually comes out in like gym gear, like he just came from working out or something, you know.
Yeah, he give like a bare minimum kind of promo where it's just like, hey, here's some callbacks, here's some stuff that you guys can chant, and then he's off and he's leaving. This very much felt like Rock is in for the ride. Rock is in
the Rock.
This felt like Rock doing a wrestling promo, and buddy, I've been waiting, man. I've been waiting. He came back and he came down and he came.
I thought he was gonna get me, Phil, because the thing that I've hated about his promos for the last couple of years is he just comes out and panders. He's like, in 5 seconds, you guys are gonna chant this. In 5 seconds, this is gonna trend on Twitter. So he comes out and he's like, you guys broke the record, and I'm like, oh no, he's pandering again. But then he brought it right back around to to really stick it to him. So he showed me within the first 2 minutes what time it was.
Yeah, I mean, I think doing the callback to his WrestleMania moment of him coming out and doing the attendance record thing, and then playing up the fact that also that he's corporate now because he's a part of the board. He's part of the leadership of this company moving forward. So he would be the guy to come out.
Element. I didn't think about that too. He's playing like the corporate guy saying the numbers.
Yeah, so he would be the guy that comes out and says the numbers, and then he completely flipped it around. And man, buddy, when he said when he called the people of Utah trailer park trash, I was back in 1998, standing up, yelling at my TV because this is the guy that
I pulled off an invisible elbow pad and threw that shit for sure. I was like, oh, we are all the way back.
This is the guy that I've started watching wrestling, idolizing, man. This guy for me was my favorite wrestler for a very long time, and so when he was sitting all the bits, I was like, he's really back. This is the Rock that I want to see. And so, man, having him out there in the shades and the Versace shirt and running down the crowd, that is the Rock. That is the hallmark of that character. And, buddy, he smoked it. He smoked that crowd. Me as a Bulls fan, being like, yeah, y'all thought that dodgy pizza was going to get the GOAT out of here. Nah, bro. Y'all still ain't got no championships. And y'all thought y'all was going to come out here and boo the GOAT. Man, when he sat there and was like, finally, he was like, oh, wait, y'all want to boo that? Y'all sure y'all want to boo the Rock? Finally, your lives have meaning again. Finally, you'll have a story to tell all of your kids because finally you can say you witnessed greatness. Because finally, The Rock has come back to Salt Lake City.
And like I said,
Chef kiss.
The best part of this is The Rock got immediately into lying because he told a whole bunch of lies about Cody Rhodes and lose. I'm like, wait, Rock, we all watched Cody win the Royal Rumble, though. So a lot of this that you're saying are lies. Like, you can't lose and then come. But he won, though, The Rock. But that's the best part about it is that's exactly what a heel is, a big old liar. And he came through with a bunch of lies. Great.
Yeah. I've seen people that said this segment was nonsensical. And, buddy, do I disagree that it was nonsensical because they laid a lot of Easter eggs. It started when Roman said, hey, man, you guys are idiots. And I don't mean that as in just individually you guys are idiots. I just mean as collectively you guys can be stupid. And he was like, so I just want to warn you guys, when The Rock comes out here, you guys can go dumb. You'll go catchphrase crazy and you won't listen to anything he says. But everything we say has a meaning. And when I watched the promo the second time, I was like, oh, I see what you did there.
Oh, Roman.
I
forgot that he said that. He said you guys are going to do exactly what they did when he came out.
But he made the point as well that there was a little bit of meta there where he said, everything here is information. It all has meaning. And there were a few things that Rock said in that segment that, of course, were lies. Like the part about him, man, you don't just get to come back and get a rematch just because you want it, just because you want to finish your story.
He did that.
That is a lie because he didn't do that. He earned his way back.
The Rock did that, not Cody.
He then called him a whiner and said, you can't just come back. That's the opposite of what Cody did. Cody didn't whine and complain at all. He just got back to work, got back and won another Royal Rumble. And so, yeah, that part of it is a lie because, listen, Rock don't watch the program. He don't have to watch the program.
No.
What is Cody's story? It doesn't matter what his story is. That's the whole point. The whole point is that I don't care about any of that. I am an egomaniac, and I am out of touch with what the fans want. What you want doesn't matter because I am in power. And so that was the point of everything he was saying. Yeah, he was capping, but very intentionally. I thought it was also very interesting that the sports analogy that he made in going at the fans and making them look like losers was making fun of a 49ers fan that was standing right next to him. Roman did not think any of that was funny.
They build the gang from San Francisco.
Yes. And so also the part that people are sleuthing and him saying, I'm going to do everything in my power to make you look like exactly what you are, a loser, and pointing right in Roman's direction. And I was like, boy, that could be twofold. Is he really playing along? And is he
like
really,
he's playing us?
Is he really playing?
He's playing, yeah.
Yeah, is he really playing along with this and getting Roman to think he's on his side just to turn on him at WrestleMania? Maybe. Or, and this is what I think is coming, I think he's going to be the one that demands the tag match. And I think Roman is going to be upset with him because he doesn't want to wrestle 2 nights because he already has a match scheduled. Rock is going to be the one that asked for the tag match to get on the card, and it's going to hurt Roman.
And when Roman had his promo and they started chanting for Cody, and then he was like, "You guys already messed this up. Of course, you guys want him." And he like that makes a lot of sense because Roman keeps thinking that something's going away, and then it keeps getting changed. So The Rock comes and changes it again, forces him to wrestle twice. That actually tells a really good story. Really good story.
So even if he doesn't turn him in at WrestleMania, I really think the point of this is that, and even if you look at the visuals of the segment,
you don't have to turn on him if he does that. Actually,
yeah. Even if you look at the visuals of the segment, in every other Bloodline segment we've seen, at the end of the segment, the Bloodline are in the center of the ring. Roman is center. At the end of this segment, they were off to the side. Rock was in the center. Rock had the spotlight. And I think the point of all of this was to show already that these two guys are butting heads. And it was in very subtle ways, but you can see that they're already starting to butt heads. And on the other side, on Raw, you can see that these two guys that hated each other a year ago, they've got it together and they can coexist. But can these two guys coexist? I don't know. And that's the story. And that's why I said at this point, I'm all in on the tag match. If the tag match is the main event for night one, I'm all in. I think the story they're building so far is really, really good. I don't like how we got here. I think that this was a very clumsy way to get here. But I think in 2 episodes of both Raw and SmackDown, I think they did a very good job of building up both tag teams. And buddy, if you watch that trailer again of those two teams staring at each other again, I don't see how you can't get hyped, man, because I'm just this is the match.
Do you think we would have gotten this Rock without the pivot shit? Like, say, like nobody freaked. Cody did that and nobody freaked out. Everybody was actually excited about the Rock. Do you think he would have been heel going into this, or he would have been playing up the baby face board member guy?
I don't think we would have, because I think at that point Roman is still the heel, right? So
he's still the heel, yeah.
You still need to you still need a baby
I'm just
face.
like, this is so good. I'm happy that we got here.
This is better to me. I think that
right.
I think that for me, this makes more sense because now we got heel Rock. Boy, this is a version of Rock we have not seen in over a decade.
Him being on the board makes even more sense. You know what I mean? That makes it hit harder.
Yeah, and I think this works. I also saw a few things because this could go either one or two ways. Either this could lead to them getting a tag match, and you can use that as part of the reason that Roman lost the next night. And out of that, he will be upset at The Rock. And you can keep The Rock heel, and you can start the Roman babyface turn. Or Rock is playing Roman all along, and that's how you get to the match. Either way, you've got a baked-in way to build to that match. And I kind of feel like that's better than just saying, hey, it's a big match that you guys have all wanted. Yeah. Hey, aren't you guys always the ones that are telling me, what's the story, man? Don't just give us the match. I think they're actually building a really good story now for the match.
And then they announced Seth and Cody at the Grayson Waller effect, right?
Yes.
For Elimination Chamber. There were some people are trying to think that The Rock might show up there. Well, what do you think about that?
Maybe.
Potentially, yeah.
I can see it because they're building it up as such a big thing. They're making it a thing outside of the pay-per-view. So I can see something happening. But again, and this is why I say the segment on Raw is so good, because they've done such a good job of presenting motives for these two guys to work together. And, of course, Rock would be the one that's an issue because, no, you've overstepped your bounds. It's one thing, like I said, if you're just a champion and you're deciding, I'm not coming to work, I'm champion, I can do whatever I want. But now it's even worse. The other thing that was confirmed this week, buddy, I said it last week, Triple H, oh, you got all them bars off last week. Didn't say a word last night when that guy was in the building. Didn't say
Where was he? Where was he?
See this guy say nothing. nothing. Roman was doing that little selfie promo where he was like, "I told you guys, I don't just wear this shirt for no reason. Levels above everyone." And he made that crack at the game, and you can see in the background the game was coming out of a door and walking in the other direction.
Yeah, no, Triple H, you can't be talking that talk and not walking that walk when The Rock shows up. Makes it look a type of way. But yeah, I thought that there was some interesting things in this. Like, it still shows kind of how WWE crowds work. Like, it's gonna, like, The Rock was fighting to get them to like really boo him, because I think that he just kind of expected when he said finally, oh, you guys are booing The Rock, why would you boo The Rock or whatever, like, it wasn't as much booze as I think he expected them to be, and not because they weren't engaged, just because we still want to cheer you. And like, The Rock is such an icon that his disses are, I want to get dissed by The Rock, you know what I mean? Like, that's not like, I'm not gonna boo you for that. I'm gonna be like, thanks for calling me a dirty loser, The Rock. That's cool, that's your whole thing. So it's gonna be hard for him with these new crowds to be like a 100% we hate this guy heel, because he's just at that level that no matter what, it's The Rock. How do you really boo The Rock?
Yeah, but boy, I thought he did the best to maximize.
But yeah, exactly. Like, he tried everything and he did it.
All of the old tricks worked at one point. They tried to chant with him, and when he got to the "if you're smelling," he's like, no. Sing along time is over. You just sit there and shut your mouth and enjoy the ride that I'm taking you on. And then he closed it off, and they thought they were going to keep going and do the "if you smell," and he was like, "What the bloodline is cooking." I thought that was great. I thought everything he did in this segment was really, really great. What
about the subliminal? How you feel about him holding an L? Do you think it was a mistake? Do you think it was intentional? It can't be a mistake, right? I can't see it being a mistake.
I believe that it is a double entendre, buddy, because I think it's a way to make people think again that this guy is out of touch. He doesn't watch the product. He doesn't know that you're just supposed to put up one finger. But I also
that's really good.
But I also think he intentionally threw that L up because I think, as he said, he intends to make Cody the loser at WrestleMania. But I also think that he is subtly dissing Roman Reigns. I think that he is, in fact, calling Roman Reigns the loser here.
I like both of those things, because that's funny. Him being like, "Oh yeah, I don't watch the product. I thought this is how you're supposed to do it."
But either way, I think he did a few things in this thing.
There's a lot of subliminals in there for sure.
There are a lot of things that I really, really enjoyed about it, and I did not expect to like this segment as much as I did. Again, I didn't expect to like both of these segments this week as much as I did, but I thought both were great.
I was nervous about The Rock for sure, man, because it hasn't it's been a lot of years where it's like, I like The Rock, but some of these promos, but that was Dwayne Johnson. This was The Rock, 1998, 1999, the People's Champion. This was him right here. And like, if this is what we're going to get, then I'm in.
Yeah, and I've seen people say that, why would he have a problem with Roman? Because they're on the same side. They're from the same bloodline. Well, I think his beef at this point is probably not built on anything other than the fact that I am a bigger star than you. I have more power than you. No. You're over here, buddy. You're over here. And I think that in a lot of ways he's been showing that visually standing next to him, and he's been kind of sneakily saying it. And so, I mean, I you got to wonder, why did he want the match in the first place? Like, because people are like, oh, well, now that he's aligned with him, why would he now hate him? Well, why did he want the match in the first place?
I think this pivot actually makes more sense of him, because it kind of feels like he's going to take him down from the inside. But even more, he's just like, I'm showing you in front of your face that I'm the head of the table, that when I'm here, everything is about me, even if you're standing in the ring with me. And so he's going to essentially visually break him down before he really breaks him down.
Yes. I think that there's a lot to what they've done with The Rock in a week, and I feel like this is much better than everything that they were starting to do. I think the pivot has saved a lot of this stuff.
It has.
Because honestly, how good was a Rock Roman one-on-one match going to be? I don't know. I think when you have three guys in there that wrestle regularly with a guy that's now coming back that hasn't wrestled in years, I think that kind of saves it. I think the tag match is gonna be better than the one-on-one match was
A
probably going to be.
one-on-one Roman and Rock match would have been.
And I mean,
It would have been too many shenanigans. Like it would have worked because they, the elements that they're gonna have there and the tribal chief and they're gonna have all the family. It would have worked, but it wasn't gonna be like some great match.
yeah. I mean, it to my point also. I think the tag match in itself also works because it differentiates both Rollins and Roman because I think it makes the case that Roman is gonna be dragged kicking and screaming into this tag match probably by Rock, but I think Rollins' point is, all right, well I'll do the tag match because I've decided to help you, so I don't mind wrestling both nights because I've told you anyway. I'm the workhorse and I will work if I can, and so I think his point is, hey man, I'm gonna help you take this guy down any way that I can. If that means getting in this tag match, I'll do that.
Oh, now I'm thinking about it. If Rock does show up at Elimination Chamber, this is how he could do the match. He could just tell Cody and Seth, "Hey, actually, He's gonna make it look like he's trying to get the best of them, but it's really him forcing Roman into the two matches. Like he's gonna make it look like I want to have a match to kick both of your guys' asses, but it's really like a ploy to make force Roman into two matches. It's actually a pretty good story to tell. I don't know how they got here, but they got here.
Yeah, again, execution has been it's been a little wonky. It's been a little clumsy, but I do think that and it was just from the kickoff show on, I think they've done a really good job of pivoting.
The Rock, Jimmy. I thought it was pretty. It looked visually looks cool. I'm interested to see how much more of The Rock is on the SmackDowns going forward. I know they taped the one for. Why did they tape the one? Oh, because they're going to be in Australia. I'm like, why did they tape the ones for next week? But they're going to be overseas for the show. Are you going to wake up at 2 a.m. to watch Elimination Chamber?
Probably so. It's the morning of our podcast that week, so I would assume that we kind of need to. So I'll be up watching it.
Oh, right. It's another one of those. I don't want to say short shows, but WWE's doing this. Like so far they only got the 2 chamber matches announced and the 2 title matches.
Yes,
and 2 title matches announced. Yeah. So, but damn, that's late.
It is, but go figure. If you would have told me a month ago that I would be this interested in this tag match, I would have been like, but none of this makes sense. Why are these 4 men in this tag match? It doesn't make sense. But I think they've done a really good job of building it in just 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm gonna see how they get around to the making Roman work 2 nights. And still, we've talked and we've joked and we've argued all the things. Cody Rhodes has to leave this fucking show.
He has to win.
It's a joke as Finish the Stories become a bit, but this at the end of the day, dude, Cody has to win this belt, dude. God damn it.
He has to win. And this is the other reason why when somebody said earlier, should Seth turn on him? And I was kind of waiting until we got into the Seth promo to explain why it doesn't make sense. But it doesn't make sense for his character to do that. I think if you have his character progress all this time to a place where it's like, no. In order to do what's right for this company, to save the company from those 2 guys who are out of control, I have to back Cody. It would make no sense for him to then turn around and turn on Cody because that makes everything you've done for the last year meaningless.
And if they've been talking all this shit about Roman and then he screws Cody in a Roman match with the thing that he's been talking about, that would look crazy. Like that wouldn't even make sense at all. You know what I mean? Because I know there's going to be shenanigans. I'm just like, how do you book this finish? Because you know what they want to do. If it is just Roman and Cody one-on-one for the belt, you know what they want to do. They want to have Solo come out. Rikishi's going to be out there. Like everybody's going to be out there. How do you do all that and still have Cody look strong at the end of it? Because you know there's going to be shenanigans.
If it were me booking this, give me the pencil. If it were me, I'd do the tag match night 1. Do all of the story stuff with Rock being the guy that wants the tag match and Roman doesn't want the match. I think you do the storytelling in the match of Rock is just like, hey, if we're going to do this, I don't want anybody out there but just me and you. You don't need anybody else out there. You're with the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. And so we can beat them together. We're better than them. And I think as the match goes along, they're going to butt heads more and more until eventually The Rock turns on him and costs him the match.
Okay.
Now, does that sound also crazy, the idea of Roman taking 2 pins 2 nights in a row? I think it does. But I think in order to tell the story, you have to get to this place. Because I don't think Rock is going to eat this pin.
Do you think they they have to lose the tag match to sort this up? Because couldn't they essentially win it? No, that doesn't make sense either. They have to lose the tag match. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because neither one of the other guys needs to be getting pinned going into the next night.
Yeah, how are you gonna do that?
But that sounds crazy. You're gonna pin The Rock. You're gonna pin who's gonna get pinned in this? Now I'm like, oh damn it.
I don't know, but again, I am in for the story they're telling. I think that this is a good place for all of these guys to be. As somebody that was very worried about Cody and very worried about them ending up with Seth versus Cody going into this, I think this is a much better place for both of them. How
do you feel that they've kind of been like, forget about what Cody did at SmackDown and handed it over to The Rock? Because that's not really they're just like, they changed them. Like Cody didn't come out and be like, and remember 2 weeks ago, this blah, blah, blah. Like they haven't really pivoted back to it. They just kind of like swept it under the rug. It's fine, right?
I think it is, but that's also why I knew right away that they were pivoting, because I'm just like,
why haven't they talked about that?
If that was the case, if it wasn't a pivot, then they would give an explanation. I've seen some people say that when The Rock hugged Cody that night and whispered in his ear, that was to start him playing Roman. And that was kind of their headcanon way of setting up him joining the Bloodline and trying to play them for what.
And the slap is a part of the thing too. I could see this.
But
okay.
I'm not sure if I believe that. I still think that they pivoted.
It's not the worst idea. That's not the craziest thing.
Yeah, it's not.
Like they've been working together to take down Roman Reigns.
Yeah, and you can also tie that back to he took some advice from him and all of that, and just everything about it, how he came in and Cody had that big fake smile on his face until he hugged The Rock, and then when he walked away, he looked more upset.
I think your sound went out again.
There you go. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I'm here for wherever we're at, man.
The Rock, man, like seeing vintage Rock, if like there's moments that I've talked about this recently on a podcast. Like you said, Phil said it felt like going back to 98. It feels like moments sometimes happen that I turn into a 12-year-old kid again, and it's just like, I don't have a podcast. I don't write about wrestling. I don't tweet. I don't talk about nothing. I'm just a wrestling fan that watches wrestling on Mondays and Thursdays or whatever. Like being back, that's what seeing The Rock felt like, of just like, none of these shenanigans matter. The Rock is in here cooking, bro. We are back. And that feels good.
Yeah. No, I thought that this segment was it was nostalgia, but it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. I think some other bits of this story may or may not work for certain people, but I just think that just do the obvious thing at this point. Let Cody eat the pin, take the win. Let him take the win.
There doesn't need to be any more swerves or anything from this head out.
Don't try to swerve this anymore. Just give him the win. Just move on with Roman and do different
Seth,
things.
no Damian. Leave all that shit in the back, dude. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Just let Cody have the win. Do something different with Roman's character. It's time. It's time to move forward with that character, bro. It's you can't keep doing this, man.
They haven't announced the location of SummerSlam yet, right? Because I'm like, that's probably where they could do the Rock and Roman match. If they did. I made the joke about Saudi, which I think is really on the marking, but they should do it at SummerSlam.
Fightful Select, I believe they were saying that it could be in Cleveland.
Okay.
And I've seen other people that have like put other reports out that it might not be in Cleveland, but it seems like Cleveland is happening.
Mm. I could see The Rock and Roman in Cleveland for sure in a big stadium. Logan Paul. Isn't Logan Paul from Cleveland? Logan Paul in the main event. Yeah. That was SmackDown.
You think Logan Paul is main eventing a show with Rock and Roman on it?
No, I meant in the co-main event.
Co-main event.
Nobody's main eventing over The Rock. That's why I'm like, damn. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they really do the 2 matches at WrestleMania. Like, are they gonna make Roman work twice? That still sounds crazy to me.
I think the closest chance you'll get to do it is doing the tag match because it's less taxing than doing a one-on-one match.
Yeah, not 2 one-on-one matches at all. And The Rock, he can hide behind the tag match. I'm still very nervous about him in the ring, honestly.
You can do a lot of smoke and mirrors with that tag match, and that's why right now I feel like this is the better option. Not just because of the story stuff you've done, and also as a part of my guy being in a spot where it looked like he was going to lose his main event because Cody was probably going to end up taking that spot and Punk was hurt. Now you've got a chance for him to main event. This is what he wanted. This is and this is part of why I hate how we got here. But again, watching him be a part of that package to build to the trailer of WrestleMania, this is everything he wanted. This was his point of him saying that I've never been the headliner for WrestleMania. I've never main evented. Yeah, I've had the heist of the century, and I got that moment, but I was never a part of like the promotion and the marquee to promote WrestleMania. And so watching that trailer as a fan of his, I was like, he got it. This is what he wanted.
Damn, now that conspiracy theory of Cody and Rock are working together is in my brain. I'm like, I'm putting all these pieces together. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
They could kind of tie this up if they really wanted to. Like the signs are really there. I'm like, wait, maybe they are. Like that storyline reason would make sense. Like, oh, I know how to beat you. I'll get The Rock to help me.
Yes. Yes. I did momentarily think as well when I was watching certain Seth stuff. Like that the video package they did after Monday, which was also very good, where they spliced in all the footage of the Shield stuff over Seth talking. I was like, this is really, really good stuff. But even when I was listening to it, I was like, man, I wish we got that Punk match. Because this is essentially his same point and his same reason for not liking Punk.
Yeah, you can almost apply the same rules to The Rock, pretty much.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like you don't get to just come back and we've been here working year round and you get to just decide you can come back and just now everybody has to put the spotlight on you. Yeah.
Good stuff. Let's get into some super chats before we get out of here. Will Chisholm says, Jade saw that SmackDown deal and was like, not enough zeros in this check. Yeah, seriously. She really did look like that as a gimmick.
I chuckled very hard at her going, her line in that. Did you catch it?
No, I didn't. What was it?
Her line of, I know y'all not going to come in here and interfere in my big business meeting. And I was like,
I didn't catch that.
mm.
Oh, y'all are so funny. Coming here and interfering in my big business. I love it. NYU's 99 says, a shout out to Grapsody, making my Saturdays fly by at work. Also here for Righteous Reg and Paywall Phil on Ask Grapsody. Enjoy wrestling, folks. Yeah, you guys definitely check out Ask Grapsody if you haven't. Tyrone Kidd said, Reg, never forget, best DC movie is Shaq and Steel. Now you talking crazy.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You've got
Shaq was trying everything.
Because the future's in your hands.
I'm dead, dude. That's so funny. There's memories in my brain that I'm like, I'm never gonna unlock those again. And then somebody comes on our podcast and says Steel, and I'm like, what? That helmet?
My man was really singing "Steal Yourself" as like a gospel record. I was like, yo, where are we, bro?
Where are we? Dude, Shaq has done it all, man. Aaron Busby says, you guys be nice.
I'm always nice. I don't know what you're talking about.
Me too. Same here. Bergov says, Phil is Seth Shield. Love this debate. Seth Shield. Will Chisholm says, if WWE wants to go full Bloodline takeover and just to troll Cody, Ava should change the Dusty Cup to the Rocky Classic.
Yo.
That's
The
pretty.
Wild Samoan Classic.
That's pretty good. Busby says, funniest moment if Rock promo was bringing up the Niners loss, and Roman looked at him like, why are you bringing that up? I know Busby himself was hurt. He was tweeting about it. He's like, well, why did Rock got to say that?
Yeah,
Because wasn't he out here last week saying that Cody should lose? Now he's probably saying that Cody should win.
He started cutting his TV down. Like, all right, enough. All right, enough of Rock.
Cutting your TV down because you still hurt. Now I hope that you've recovered a little bit, Busby. It was a rough time. Remember, I was talking about the Bay Area and how we're feeling out here. My guy Busby, after that Niners loss. Tough one. Will Chisholm also says, it seems like R-Truth and The Miz will win the tag titles at Mania, but if it's me, I'm letting John Cena be true surprise and they win the titles or bring in Pac-Man Jones. I've heard a couple people mention bringing Cena in for some shenanigans. I could see him at, it's the 40th WrestleMania.
I've grown to accept that Miz and R-Truth are probably going to win the tag titles
At WrestleMania, huh?
I don't want to see it, but I just think that it's happening now.
Damn it. Philip Lindsey, Miz was so bad in that Logan Paul match. If we had another hour to talk about it, I'd get into it, but goddamn, dude.
Wait a minute. I thought he was back after the Gunther match.
Hell no. Did you see that, dude?
I did see the match.
Oh my God. Terrible. I was like, dude, he's 20 years this year. He's been there. He was on Tough Enough in 2004. And still, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You might have been at WrestleMania, dude. And then I'm like, damn, I'm happy that Truth is going to get his moment. But with that, oh, God. Yeah. Will Chisholm also says, Steph sounds like Apollo Creed and Rocky 3 telling Cody, there is no tomorrow.
Yeah, that's where there are several analogies here. I think the Rocky analogy fits in that. He's looking around like, no, you've got to beat this guy, and so I'm gonna help you beat him. And this is definitely Apollo teaming up with Rocky. The other analogy I made is that this was very much like Vegeta watching the fight at the end of the Cell games and not doing anything, just sitting there the whole time after he's gotten completely clobbered by Cell, and he was just like, no, Gohan has to win, and so he fired the Ki Blast in to distract Cell to help him win.
Wild. Delayed Gratz with a very bad idea. Cody gets pinned night 1, then Solo wins night 2.
Boy,
no, Cody gets I read it wrong. That's why I thought it was a bad idea. Cody gets pinned night 1, then wins Solo night 2. I thought he said Solo wins night. I was like, what? This is a bad idea. No, Cody gets pinned in the tag match and then wins the championship Solo on night 2. That makes a lot more sense.
I was very confused at what you were saying at first. I was like, what is Solo getting?
That's what I was reading. I'm like, wait, why is Solo gonna win the belt? That don't make sense. Busby also says, I'm still bitter. Cody needs to lose. If I can't have my moment, nor can Cody. Those are the rules. Man, you can't take everybody down with you, Busby.
Sounds like a hater to me.
Straight up, man. A hater want everybody's downfall. Now you gotta want somebody to win.
Cody's gotta win. We can't do this again. We can't do this.
Cody gotta lose too.
Listen, if we go into 2025 still talking about finish a story, I'm out. I can't. Stop.
It's got the credibility's dead if he loses again.
Listen, what do you mean he ain't got no credibility? I ain't trying to hear this no more. Stop.
And then Jamari Robertson with our last super chat, a very generous one, says, "Thank y'all for all y'all do. Rock has never acknowledged Roman Reigns yet, right? It's crazy how we have a palette swap of Kofi Mania with Cody Mania. LMO. Why am I cheering for a Homelander over The Rock?"
Cody's that guy, man. I'm sorry, man. Y'all gotta let it go. Cody's that guy.
Has he officially? He hasn't officially acknowledged Roman Reigns, right? The Rock.
No, he's not going to.
He's never going to. Yeah,
he's a bigger star than him. He showed that ever since he's been back, so he doesn't have to acknowledge him.
Right. And that's the story. That's what they're going to continue to tell. Of like, no, you acknowledge me, fool. I'm the head of the table.
That was another Rock line. Again, pay attention to everything that's said here. He said, man, your story is ending, Cody, but ours is just beginning. I caught it. I caught the double entendre there.
Oh, yeah, he did say that. Ours is just beginning. Yeah, I don't think he'll do the full turn at Mania with some of the verbiage he was using last night. Now that I think about it, they're gonna tell this story for a little bit longer than WrestleMania for sure.
Yeah.
That's all of our super chats. Appreciate y'all. Y'all are dope.
I don't know if we
Well,
have
I'm not
any-
cheering for Homelander over The Rock is hilarious.
Nah, I've said it before.
Cody's different.
I'm never cheering for Triple H over Rock. It's not happening.
Can't.
Never happening. Never ever happening.
I was in 2000, but the times were different.
Never, and I mean never.
Times
was
are
a Triple H.
different, Phil. I'm sorry.
I was never a Triple H fan ever.
Yeah. I get it. I understand. When I look back now, I'm like, but I was I was obsessed with Shawn Michaels, so DX happened. Like by proxy, Shawn Michaels got hurt and left, and I was like, I guess Triple H is the guy now, just because I was such a big Shawn Michaels fan.
There's things like
No?
he came out and he had the fire theme song, man.
Yeah,
My Time is an all-time great theme song.
so good. The elements are like I love My Time way more than I love It's All About the Game.
Yeah, much better theme song. He had all the things going. He had the leather jacket. He had all the cool friends. But nah, man.
But it
I
was
the Rock
really
guy.
only for that 2000 post Shawn Michaels until like 2000, late 2001. And then when he got on to be the Triple H, that was awful. I didn't. From 2002 till now, I'm like, I don't want to see none of that shit.
Yeah, no, never liked him, man. Never been a Triple H fan. Never liked him as a person, but as a character, I've always rooted against him.
I don't know him. I can't even say anything about him personally. So
But of course not. Of course, we're talking specifically about the wrestling character.
say
Triple
that
H.
out
We're
loud,
not,
you guys.
we're not talking about Paul Levesque,
Right.
which now he calls himself on TV, which is weird.
It is super weird.
Yeah, we do not have any more Humper chats, so I believe that is where we're gonna bid you guys adieu. This has been Grapsody as always. I'm Phil Lindsey, Righteous Reg. We are out of here.